see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callan McClurg and Nick Morgasen.
Hello again, my friends. Happy Wednesday, and welcome into another edition, episode 38 of Press Row, covering all things sports business and sports media on a beautiful March the 4th, 2026. Already in March. Can you believe it already here, 3 months into 2026? As always, he's Nick Morgasen. I'm Callan McClurg, joining you folks here today. Action-packed show. Another guest joins us later in hour 3 here this afternoon. Mr. Morgasen, great to see you as always, my man. How are we doing today?
Oh, man, it's been a wild and busy, what would you say, last couple hours? As we managed to get stuff done under the wire, as they say in the business of radio. But we're here, and somehow we managed to do what we needed to do. But we have a unbelievable show planned. We have a big-time guest joining us at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Blake Bolden of Amazon Prime and also of ESPN, being an NHL analyst. So you're not going to want to miss that. So make sure you join us at the top of hour number 3 or 2, I should say 2. Or is it 3? Am I doing my math wrong? It is 3. It's been a long last week or two. But it's going to be a great show. We have a lot planned. Some baseball news, which kind of broke very early this morning, which we will get to. Some World Cup uncertainty, which kind of has to do with the ongoing war. And yes, unfortunately, that war, not the politicking in sports war. Also, we'll get into the annoying Paramount-Warner Bros. Discovery merger, which is going to have a huge effect on sports. I told you, Callan, I think this is very monopolistic, what is going on. So we'll get into that. What else we got? Oh, we're going to talk about more NBA gambling. But guys, you talked about that a month or two ago. Well, there's new news. So we'll get to that. Also, more layoffs. Yay! So, yeah, we're going to get into Underdog's layoffs, some Padres ownership news. And then, obviously, we'll get to Blake Bolden in hour number 3. We'll talk about WNBA news. So we got a big show for you. So let's not waste any time because we got to make sure we have time to get to Blake Bolden in hour 3. So let's get underway. By the way, before we do any of that, I forgot to mention, make sure you follow us on social media at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms. We will eventually get back to TikTok when they decide not to ban the stupid account for no apparent reason.
Yes.
But we'll get back there. Make sure you follow the network at ETB Network across all social media platforms as well. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the deal by now. Help us get to those watch hours. YouTube.com/ETB Network. So please help us get to those numbers. The quicker you help us, the quicker we can do stuff for you. So help us out. Okay. Now let's get to the first topic, which is
a big one too.
So this news broke very early this morning in a massive industry shakeup announced early. It was like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Eastern time this morning. NBC Sports has officially named Jason Benetti as the lead play-by-play voice for its new Sunday Night Baseball package. Benetti, who is 42 years old, was released early from his Fox Sports contract to take the role. We'll explain that in a second. He will debut on opening day, March 26th, as the Dodgers host the Diamondbacks. Notably, the broadcast will feature a unique rotating analyst format with commentators tied to the specific teams playing each week. What? By securing Benetti and pairing him with a rotating cast of local experts, is NBC effectively building a national-local hybrid that fixes the common complaint that national announcers don't know the teams well enough? I
get what they're trying to do, Nick, but why do I feel like that we were talking before we came on the air this morning, early afternoon, that Fox Sports tried this already with FS1 on select Saturdays or Tuesday night games, and it just didn't seem to flow right or feel right.
This sounds like disaster waiting to happen because there's no chemistry being built for a booth. Think about all the great booths across professional sports, okay? And a lot of them are NFL booths that come to mind, but just you need to build chemistry over time. You can't be switching out analysts and changing everything around and then say, oh, but we want the Red Sox announcers, then we want the Dodgers, then we want the Yankees and the Rays and the Pirates and the Reds. And I just don't see how that works. You need to have, and I get it, you and I are the first ones to say that national booths are not the best. So is there a little hypocrisy from our ends as media people? Yes. But at the same time, I don't think I want to hear a local analyst who's never done a national game before handling the games every single week. Explain to me how that makes any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I think you're right, though, that chemistry is a massive thing. You know, if you think about baseball on national television, you know, Adam Amin, AJ Przinsky come to mind for Fox. When ESPN had Ravage and Eduardo Perez and David Cohn doing games when they had the SNB package. You know, that chemistry is a real thing. And obviously, you know, you can look at Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill, for example, or, you know, Dave O'Brien and Eckersley, for example, on Nesson with the Red Sox, or John Boog-Shambi and that booth in Chicago with the Cubs, or Silo and Grant in San Diego, Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow with the Giants, for example. Like, if you keep rotating out, now I get the vision of, now, Nick, I'm going to assume Benetti's going to work with a three-man booth. There's going to be a Dodger analyst, so I would probably say Oral Hershiser maybe, and maybe Bob Brentley for the Diamondbacks. That right there is a combustible booth as is already with those two guys already in there. But again, though, this is like great idea, poor execution, because when it keeps rotating every week,
the audience can't get into who's calling the games. When you and I, like, we might talk about this later, but the March Madness schedule coming out, but you know, the booths for the most part, you know, Iron Eagle, Grant Hill, and Bill Raftery are going to call the major games within the tournament.
You know, okay? Kevin Harlan's going to be working with Stan Van Gundy.
And who do they add now? Robbie Hummel.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later. But you know, Kevin Harlan's calling games. You know, Iron Eagle's calling games. You know the booths.
Brian Anderson.
You know Brian Anderson. You know the analysts. You know Grant Hill, Chris Webber. As much as we give shit to most of these guys, but you know that you're going to have the same consistency every single package of analysts that are coming through for the tournament. This, on the other hand, I don't know how you can have consistency. And don't give me this bullshit that we need an analyst and we got to be fair on each side. That's just not how sports works.
Correct.
Okay. It's the whole point of a game being national is that everyone is supposed to see it, and there shouldn't be bias on each side calling the game, because that's eventually what's going to happen too. Because when one team is up, that analyst is going to know that side, and the other analyst is going to know the other side. So you're not going to get a fairly called game all together at once.
Yeah, and why do I feel like, though, Nick, like the first game that Benetti does call, it's going to be probably, if the analysts work out the way I think it's going to work out, that'll be Oral Hershiser for the Dodgers from Spectrum Sports in LA, and probably Bob Brenly, who we know, Nick, has a very, big, ego / controversial side to him, though, from his time as Arizona's manager. The commentary about Latin-born players, a lot of his very much off the wall, way out of bounds remarks from Nick, where even D-back fans have even said on Twitter, get this guy out of my booth. I don't like how he goes about his business. Yeah, he won us a World Series 25 years ago, but his style, his demeanor, how he nitpicks at players on both, either on Arizona or on the opposing team. Obviously, he had a long bone to pick with Ben Davis with the Padres. He's always had a bone to pick with the Padres because of how Ben Davis bunted to break up a perfect game that Curt Schilling had in a 1-0 game in 2001, for God's sakes. Then he also, though, Nick, has been, but also he's been known to making borderline racist remarks about Latin-born, Dominican-born players because of either chains around their neck, how they pimp home runs, how the game is being, how the game in their culture is played. And that's, hey, we don't do that here in America, yada, 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 yada. So, I mean, even then, that booth, though, feels like it's going to be combustible. And then if you're
Right.
but if you're Benetti, Nick, I know you don't have much pull, though, but man, I would think, though, that NBC is going to have to go to the drawing board if this does not work out after year one.
This reminds me of what's going on with the NBA thing, this off the bench thing that they're trying to pull off, where now they're not changing the analysts every week, so I'll give them the credit on that front.
But
at the same time, the analysts are not sitting in the same place. So there's a traffic jam going on, but there's no one controlling it.
Yeah, you've got Michael Grady or Noah Eagle sitting all by his lonesome, and then you got these two analysts on the bench area or by the bench.
And you know what? I'm tired of this whole thing that they say in the NBA where, oh, well, you're getting inside the huddle, and that's why we're putting the analysts. You can't see them.
No. I mean, when we were watching the games on playback, when they would go to those camera shots, I mean, either Austin Rivers is standing up over the whole crowd or Robbie Hummel is sitting down at the auxiliary scores table, and you can't see through, can't see him because you got the whole team coming out of a timeout in front of them.
You can't see shit. Like, they're getting blocked up by fans because some of the seats are down there too. Like, and it's worse for baseball because baseball is treated still as a local market, trying desperately to have more games nationally.
Right.
So let's take a Yankee Red Sox game because I'm sure there's going to be quite a few.
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
So how do you control that? Who's on that game?
Benetti, I would think Paul O'Neill and maybe Eckersley.
I could see David Cohn doing a game. I could see
David Cohn
or Paul O'Neill doing a game. But I just think that's going to be awkward. Having your competitive color analyst sitting next to you. How does that make any sense?
It doesn't. I just don't. Man, I'm not fully sure, Nick, if they're going to really be able to pull this off, though. I really wonder, Nick, though. Let's say that, for example, that there's a lot of fan blowback after the first, I'd say, 3 months or after the first season. Now, we know that there's going to be no baseball next year because of the lockout. But you would also think, though, Nick, that if there's a lot of blowback and pushback from viewers out there, especially, Nick, when you are shoving the Dodgers down everyone's throat during the course of the season.
Right.
When they, probably win 130 games and win another World Series. That when, though, does every fan not in the LA metro area start to complain to NBC that this act is already tiresome after the first season of them having the rights to Sunday Night Baseball?
I think they're trying too desperately hard to switch it up because they know baseball's having an issue with trying to grow the game. So they're trying to do things that this is what this has to be an NBC thing because They're doing it where they're putting people on sidelines in the NBA. Like, are they trying to copy the NBA model where they're trying to make it different so that baseball's more interesting to watch? Baseball's not interesting to watch right now. I'm sorry. It's just with all the issues going on. First of all, I'm not even going to be paying attention to the booth or the booths most of the year because what is all the talk going to be during the entire season? Oh, we're heading to a lockout. We're heading to a lockout. We might be gone for 2 years. So I don't know if this is NBC saying we're trying to salvage a year because we know there might be a lockout coming. Let's try something different and see if we can stick to it. Now, what's interesting from a media perspective here is Benetti had to get out of his Fox deal.
Right.
To take this deal because it sounds like he's joining NBC exclusively. Now, I know he's the local play-by-play for Detroit, right, for the Tigers. So he's going to be doing that, and then he's going to be doing the NBC game. So get ready for a shitload of travel on top. Right. So he's joining NBC Sports to handle play-by-play for Sunday Night Baseball on NBC and Peacock. He debuts on the 26th for the Dodgers, which, again, are you really surprised the Dodgers are on opening day? I'm not.
By the way, Nick, I did just count the schedule for NBC. Take a guess at how many times the Dodgers appear on NBC or Peacock this season.
Oh, God. Well, how many games do they have? Do you know?
20 games.
That's it? 20 games?
Yes.
I'm going to say at least half. That's it?
4 times.
Bravo. I give NBC credit right there.
Opening day against Arizona. Padres, Dodgers in July. Dodgers, Yankees in July. Red Sox, Dodgers, August 2nd.
Big market. It's big market. But you know what? I give them credit that they're not overdoing the amount of Dodger games. No one wants to see the Dodgers all day, every day in their face. But it's just interesting that I'm surprised he had to get, I guess, because he was doing baseball for Fox, right? I think at one point.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, though, how recent, though, he was doing MLB, though, for Fox, because he didn't do any playoff games, I don't think.
But if you remember, he did the White Sox games for a while.
Correct.
Then he moved over to Detroit. I don't know why he left Chicago to take the Detroit. Maybe it was a more permanent, because he wasn't doing the games full time for Chicago.
I wonder if the White Sox gave him a bit of an ultimatum about, hey, it's either got to be the White Sox or national TV. You can't keep jumping ship.
Okay, but we all know that's not how the business works.
Yeah, that's not how the business works. Exactly.
You can't survive on one job anymore. Like, I don't get what people don't realize about that, but
they're ignorant to it.
So it says on the national stage, Benetti most recently worked at Fox, contributing to the network's coverage of MLB, NFL, college football, and college basketball. He's doing it all at Fox. Which, you know what my first question is? If he had to give all that up to take the NBC gig, he better be getting paid a shitload.
Well, he better be getting a healthy bag. That is for sure. I agree 100%.
Because you don't just give up a Fox gig where you're doing all this work just to take Sunday night baseball on NBC. I get it. Sunday night is a primetime thing, and it's a big deal. But I don't know if I buy that. And he was at ESPN before that.
Right.
People forget. I don't know. I'm still questioning if this is fully going to work at NBC. Right. But NBC, I think NBC is going to fall into the category of biting off a little more than they could chew.
I mean, because the NFL, the NBA, and now Major League Baseball.
And don't forget, they're going to have the W if there's a season.
And the WNBA if there's a season.
And they have college.
They got college.
They have Notre Dame.
They still got the English Premier League on NBC and USA.
So I'm wondering if they're biting off more than they could chew slightly.
That portfolio, though, man, is just getting heavier by the day.
And I think they're trying too hard to try new things that if you just go with the simple, people want to see the damn game. Stop making it about the analysts. Stop making it about the network and give us the game. That's, as fans, we want to watch the games.
Oh, and Nick, you know what else we forgot that also was included though with the NBC package?
What?
Sunday leadoff at noon Eastern.
Uh, that's stupid. Oh, I forgot they're taking that over from Roku.
They're bringing it back after they had it for that one season. Then it went to Roku. Now it's back on Peacock.
Well, actually, I think it's 11 a.m. Eastern. Actually,
What?
Forget it. You're not getting up to watch a game for that.
Hell no.
But that's why a lot of it was West Coast games.
Yes.
Because the time was too early. But then East Coast games started creeping into it. Oh, well, we want the Yankees and the Red Sox and all the big... No, I don't care. You're not getting me up for an 11 a.m. game.
I was going to say, aren't we also at the point, though, Nick, too, where the Yankees seem to be playing more Saturday 1 o'clock Eastern games now?
You would think. And now with their Amazon deal, like everything and all that bullshit. But I don't know. Baseball's got a problem from the standpoint of they're trying to mix local with national because, again, they don't trust that they can go national to get what they need. The NBA figured it out. They went more national, and it's actually benefiting them because they got a bigger deal. Okay? And they had to go away from the local. It was not working. The local affiliation was losing money for a lot of these teams. And the NBA said, oh, swoop in, and let me take those rights over, and let me take over this and make it work. MLB, they can't break the local model. And until they figure out how to break the local model, they're going to be stuck. But to go local analysts with a national voice, tell me how that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. I don't know what they're thinking here. Now, I will say, though, Nick, they do have a pretty, I think, good studio team with Bob Costas back in the fold with both NBC for the NBA and Major League Baseball. Clayton Kershaw, Anthony Rizzo, and Joey Votto. And also, Nick, backing up Bob Costas, Ahmed Farid.
Who's also doing the NBA stuff and the college stuff, too. I mean, God, Bob Costas, how many chances does he get even when he retires? He's back in the fold doing NBA and baseball again for NBC, unless that's just a nostalgic thing that the network wanted him back to do stuff. Which is
didn't he call the Spurs-Sixers game for throwback night last night with Mike and
Fratello and Doug Williams
Collins.
Or Doug Collins? Which, by the way, if they were smart, they would not bring that back on a consistent basis.
I think once a season's fine.
Well, no, they're talking about doing this consistently. And I'm like, no. No one wants to hear Bob Costas doing play-by-play again. That miserable postseason on TBS cemented that he needs to stop doing play-by-play. Like, you remember when he botched that weird live commercial thing that they had to do for that movie?
Yes.
That was awful. Whoever told him to be part of that thing, like...
You suck.
It was so bad. But, I don't know. Will this work out? I have no idea whatsoever. I think you're asking for a lot of trouble in mixing stuff between local analysts. Really? Already?
Well, okay. It's not really breaking news, Nick, but this report, though, has come out from Sportico that the Arizona Diamondbacks apparently sold a piece of ownership to Denver Broncos owner Rob Walton, who bought the Broncos from the Bolin family, who is the wealthiest owner in U.S. professional sports, and per Forbes magazine was the 11th richest person in the entire country per Sportico. Walton now owns a 10% stake in the Diamondbacks. The investment happened 2 years ago, but was never publicly announced until recently. Sources cite both Justin Birnbaum, Eben Novi-Williams, and Scott Soshnick of Sportico being credited with the reporting. Despite this news, there's been no indication that current owner Ken Kendrick has plans to give up full control of the Diamondbacks to Mr. Walton.
That's a little odd, don't you think? That they wouldn't announce ownership when I would say buying 10% should be a public thing, don't you think?
Yeah, and it took them this long until Sportico's 3 writers broke the story.
this is what I'm talking about with baseball. Like, the owners are secretive. They don't want to say anything. They want to keep all the money. They want to put a salary cap in so that they can screw the players over. Like, everything is secretive with baseball. This is a problem. Like, they don't want to do things the proper way when it comes to running the business that baseball is.
Massive problem.
By the way,
what else do we got?
Well, a new WNBPA statement has officially come out.
Oh, baby.
So this broke about 25-ish minutes ago. So, quote, in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and the teams is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering a transformational CBA for all members of this union and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. Our union's nearly unanimous vote in December to authorize us to call a strike, if and when necessary, was not taken lightly. It was made with complete faith and trust in ourselves and our negotiating committee, led by Executive Director Terry Carmichael Jackson and President Nika Agumake, to represent all players as we work to build a W that truly puts players first. Nothing has changed. That decision and the results of our recent player survey reaffirm that the current league proposal is not worth taking. Despite our differences and tough moments, we must make crystal clear that we are focused, we are resolute, and we are together. We want to play basketball in 2026. We want to be in front of our fans playing the game that we love. We will not stop fighting. There is no WNBA without the players.
Yes.
So this is not ending anytime soon, according to that statement.
No, we'll have more, though, folks, about the WNBA in hour 3 following or before our interview, I believe, with Blake Bolden coming up at 1 o'clock this afternoon, because obviously, Nick, we also heard rumblings late on Tuesday of the letter that was written by both Sparks guard Kelsey Plum and Liberty forward Brianna Stewart that was co-written by them, where, again, we even heard, Nick, some rumblings of a bit of a tense face-to-face meeting with the Players Association, or the union, I should say, a couple days ago that kind of got leaked out. But now, though, we have a dual-signed letter from both Kelsey Plum and Brianna Stewart that we'll talk about later in the show.
Yeah, this is getting ugly. And what day are we on at this point? Or did we lose track?
I think we lost track, but hang on. We are currently, Nick, at day number 155.
And I don't see it ending anytime soon either. By the way, we're officially less than a week away from that deadline.
Next Wednesday, or next Tuesday, I should say. So we're 6 days away.
Holy crap, our next show is the day after the deadline? Yes. That's going to be a fun show, all I'm going to say. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to soccer, shall we? So, following Saturday's deadly attacks, the Iranian Soccer Federation president has stated that they, quote, cannot be expected to look forward to the World Cup with hope. Participation in the 2026 tournament is now in serious doubt, creating a massive logistical and security headache for FIFA just months before the North American kickoff. If Iran withdraws, does FIFA face a nightmare scenario of finding a replacement team on short notice? Or does the weight of this tragedy force a much larger conversation about player safety in the 2026 cycle?
No, I think it's part one, though, about it's supposed to be a 48-team tournament. So if you take Iran out of the equation, that's 47 teams, and one group has one less competing nation. So I would think, though, Nick, because right now there's still, I think, at least 6 spots left for qualification when it comes to certain groups, that there's basically almost like a play-in tournament, basically, to get into the actual World Cup field. Now with this layer added on top of it, Nick, by the way, we're 99 days away now from kickoff of the tournament. 99 days away from the kickoff in Mexico City, with Mexico playing South Africa in the first game on June 11th or June 12th, I think. Regardless, we're 99 days away. Now you have to wonder, what is the plan X, Y, and Z for FIFA? Because you do have nations trying to still qualify for the tournament. what becomes the best way forward to make this work if Iran can't obviously play because of what, of course, has gone down since Saturday morning with the bombings of the country? That now if they do pull out for, again, and I think, though, Nick, anyone would agree, if you pull out because of these reasons, it's totally understandable because of what just transpired. But now FIFA faces a bit of a nightmare scenario because now you'd be down to 47 teams. You'd be down one team in that particular group of the tournament. Could you give like an olive branch to a team who doesn't qualify based off criteria of maybe the world rankings, based on other factors out there? But I think, though, Nick, you got to fill that spot, though, if Iran cannot make it to keep the 48-team field afloat.
You're still early enough where you can fill the spot.
Yeah.
Not to fill the spot, I think would be ridiculous.
I think it'd be stupid if they did not do that.
One, you'd have an odd number, so I think that would kind of screw up just how scheduling and all that stuff would go. It also wouldn't be fair to a team that's going to automatically advance because of it.
Right.
I want to put that aside for a second, though, because just talking about this whole situation, not that, again, I hate politics and doing all this crap because that's how this really started. Unfortunately, when you have the idiot in charge who said he was going to, and this is not just for them, but for all the countries who are supposed to be the host countries and locations are supposed to be getting money from this big, beautiful bill nonsense. And they can't even get the host licenses because they won't get the money needed to run the operation for FIFA and the World Cup. That's a big issue we're having. But you're bombing a country who's supposed to be going up against you in the tournament. They're not going to be able to compete. We're all intents and purposes saying they're not going to compete, right?
Yeah.
Because they keep saying they're not sure. Can we just admit at this point they're probably not going to make it to the tournament?
I don't see them getting or being able to compete, sadly, which is unfortunate.
So I just don't see how they can compete. And then on top of that, let's say they were able to get there. You don't think there's going to be a political tension that's going to get caused during the tournament if they show up?
So, by the way, for those who are wondering, Iran did qualify for the tournament. They're in Group G, which would include Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand for their three opponents, for those who are curious.
I just don't see how they can go just based on political tension alone. Like, because people are going to say, oh, well, they don't want to work with the U.S., so they don't want to work with any other countries, so we don't like them. First of all, I think the thing that gets lost in a tournament like the World Cup is like, oh, well, these countries hate each other because of political tension. Last time I checked, this is not supposed to be about political tension or politics that are going on in each other's countries. This is supposed to be competing for your country.
And as I always say, though, Nick, whenever, though, and I always say this too, and it never fails. Whenever the World Cup, men's or women's, or the Olympics roll around every 2 to 4 years, there's always something politically going wrong that we have to talk about when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Well, yeah, and I hate saying this, but blame the idiot in the White House because he came out, I think, a couple of days ago and said, I don't care what happens to this country. Like, why even say anything that's going to cause an issue when you're trying to put on a tournament, which is, by the way, one of the most watched sporting events every single year? I would say that and the Super Bowl are probably the most watched event every single year. And you're just going to make it worse by causing political tension from the White House? I mean, I don't know.
So, Nick, given the situation and the recent statement from the Iranian Football Federation and their president, FIFA has brought authority underneath Article 6.7 of the World Cup regulations to handle a withdrawal. So if Iran officially does have to pull out, FIFA has the sole discretion to replace them with either of the following ways. They could perhaps take another team from the Asian Football Confederation or the AFC, a promotion strategy, go by rankings, or a 3-team group. And there would be fines, revenue loss, and maybe even a future ban for the 2030 World Cup qualifying cycle.
So you're penalizing them because they're pulling out? What happens if there's a real issue like there is right now currently in that country?
Yeah, I don't get that part at all whatsoever.
Now, let me be very clear. I'm not taking their side, okay, at all. I'm just pointing out that they're going to penalize them a secondary year or a secondary time to compete in the World Cup because of tensions going on in the country. This happens all the time in these type of tournaments, and you're just going to blame them for political tension and all this bullcrap that goes on between countries that are competing, and now you're going to say, "Oh, I don't care," and blah 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 blah. Like you can say the same thing about the World Baseball Classic, okay, where countries are competing, and certain countries are able to compete, some are not. Some and I just I don't understand why.
I was going to say, look at how Russia's not been able to compete in the Olympic Games for the last several years, summer or even winter.
Well, they can compete, they just can't compete under the flag.
Right.
So I don't know if that's different than saying like you're not able to compete, but I think that I'm tired of political tension ruling the news headlines.
We all are in some way.
I don't know. I don't know any other way to really put it, but just stop with the political tensions. I'm all for representation of your country and representation of your flag. That's what the World Baseball Classic is trying to stand on right now. Go represent your flag. Go represent your country.
So, based off what was read, so again, given the escalating situation and the recent statement from the Iranian Football Federation, FIFA has the broad authority underneath Article 6.7 of this year's World Cup regulation manual to handle a team having to withdraw. If Iran, currently in Group G, officially does pull out, FIFA and FIFA only has the sole discretion to replace them. They could replace them, though, as I already mentioned, with two other countries involved in the Asian Football Confederation. Nick, that could include Iraq or the UAE filling their spot.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because it's their tournament, so they can decide how to replace the spot.
Iraq would qualify as the AFC team that progressed the furthest without securing an automatic berth. Iraq would be the front runner, but they are currently playing a intercontinental playoff game on March 31st to still get into the actual field. And then for the UAE, if Iraq was to win their playoff and qualifies on their own merit, the UAE becomes the next logical choice. They are the highest ranked AFC team that is still not yet qualified for the actual tournament. So it would be based off rankings, if that's the case.
But again, politics are going to muddy the waters. Again, you can say all you want, like these are our rules and this is how we're going to make qualifications. But you're telling me political tension and political power is not going to get in the way of it?
I hate to say it, but who's not to say that there would be a ban on Iraq or Iran to come to the U.S. anyway to play in the tournament?
And that's the problem. Like the thing you were saying before about Russia, where like in the tennis tournaments, in the majors, they won't show the flags on TV when a Russian player competes. Or at the Olympics, they won't. What do they call it? The ROC? I think is what they were calling it.
I remember for a bit they were called the Olympic athletes from Russia.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember, but I think during COVID, I think that's what they were called at one point because they didn't like what Russia stood for, and which I don't blame them, by the way.
Well, that was also for the invasion of the Ukraine, though, too.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, there's too much political connected to these events, whether it's the WBC, whether it's the World Cup, and that's now. I don't like the WBC for other reasons, but at the same time, I think there's too much political connection because everyone says, "Oh, well, we're fighting for our country. We want to win for our flag." Come on, man. We know deep down there's political connection to all these events.
Or as I like to call it, fake patriotism.
Yes. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. I mean, You can say you're representing your flag all you want, but it's all political connection. That's all it is.
Also for logistics, FIFA has 3 options for logistical options depending on the timing of the official withdrawal from Iran. The promotion way would be if Iran does withdraw from the tournament before March 31st, FIFA could be allowed to promote Iraq directly into Group G and allow the UAE to take Iraq's place in the Intercontinental Playoff against Bolivia or Suriname. Rankings would then become option 2. If the playoffs have already concluded at the end of the month, FIFA may simply invite the highest ranked non-qualified team from Asia to fill the vacancy, or Nick, last resort, 3-team group with Iraq forfeiting all 3 games 3-0.
And again, that has all political connection to it. Like, there's no way to do this cleanly, okay? But to say that because they're pulling out because of dangerous situations. And then you might ban them from the next World Cup because they think it's too dangerous to come compete. Are you kidding me? That's got political aspirations written all over it.
Yeah, and that leads me though to the next part. Though a withdrawal would carry heavy consequences for the Iranian Soccer or Football Federation. The federation could face stiff fines of between 275,000 to 550,000 euros for a withdrawal more than 30 days before kickoff. That could rise to over 550,000 euros if it happens within that 30-day window. Revenue loss, they could also forfeit $1.5 million for a preparation grant and also a $9 million minimum prize pool money payday for those who play in the tournament too.
All right, forget the prize pool because that's just if you're competing in the tournament. But you're going to fine them because their country's in danger?
And possible potential exclusion from the 2030 World Cup qualifying cycle, which that one makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Again, that's political. That if you're going to choose, oh, well, we don't like the fact that you pulled out because of danger going on in the country or politics. That's political.
Yeah. I mean,
how is that not political?
I mean, yeah, it is. And I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I
love the tournament. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I love watching the World Cup. I do. But if you're going to make it political, what makes you think I'm going to want to watch it?
Right. And this has been based off what, of course, has gone down on Saturday. And I'm just trying to pull up and see real quick where, in fact, the schedule actually has Iran playing their games in their group. So they are scheduled to play in Inglewood twice and Seattle, Washington.
Okay. I don't know. This just has political tension written all over it.
Ooh. Absolutely, it does. I mean,
let me give you another example, okay? Since we're talking about big tournaments, Team Mexico is in the World Baseball Classic.
Right. And look at what just happened down there.
What's going on in Mexico right now? The drug cartels.
Drug cartel fighting, yes.
And
where are part of the World Cup matches held?
In Mexico.
3 cities in Mexico.
So you're going to get mad at Iran because they might step out due to political tension, but you're not going to say anything about Mexico with the drug cartels going on? Little hypocrisy here?
Double standard?
Little double standard? I mean, there is a little corruption that goes on in FIFA. A little bit.
IOC, WBC.
Little corruption? Little corruption.
Just a tiny bit.
Olympics too. I mean, look at the guy who ran FIFA in the World Cup for many years.
Sepp Blatter.
Yeah, Sepp Blatter. Might want to go check his bladder. It might be running right now. But if they're not going to say anything about the cartels, then they need to leave Iran alone.
I would think so.
But they're not going to. Oh, it's our precious tournament. If you pull out, that means we got to go do the work to find another team. What happens in March Madness if a team drops? You find the next team to put them in.
Right.
Right? Like World Baseball Classic. Team drops out. They're going to find the next team to put in.
Correct.
Why? Is the World Cup such a precious tournament that they have to make a team look miserable if something's going on in their country?
Apparently so.
I don't know. That sounds a little fishy to me.
A lot of it sounds fishy. I don't really know where we're headed here, but we'll keep an eye on that story though, folks. I mean, we got, again, 99 days till kickoff. They've got, I think, until March 31st to actually make up their mind to withdraw from the tournament before they would face any financial repercussions. So we'll see where that does take us. All right, Nick, over in media news, it is finally official. Paramount has won the battle for WBD after Netflix officially bowed out. This merger would unite CBS Sports with the TNT sports portfolio with the NBA, or formerly with the NBA, and other ventures, including the NHL, creating a media titan that controls massive chunks of the American sports calendar. Nick, does the combined weight of the NFL, along with other entities, make Paramount the undisputed silver medalist in sports media behind Disney, ESPN, or will this debt load of this merger make them more vulnerable to future sell-offs in future years to come?
So first of all, if you saw in our title, because this was a huge topic, 110 billion with a B,
capital B.
But like you're going to ring that cash register many times. By the way, Netflix was the original person who was supposed to take over Warner Bros. Discovery, and then they were going to spin off some of the parts and sell it. Netflix never wanted the whole thing.
No.
That was the way. Everyone, screw Paramount for beating out Netflix. No, idiots. Paramount paid more money per share. I think it was $1 to $2 more a share they paid over Netflix. And I think they ended up paying like $31 a share, which, by the way, is a lot of money.
Christy has a good point, Nick. I've been wondering how this merger will affect AEW, which is aired on TNT, TBS, and on HBO Max.
Okay, so I do have an answer for some of that. So Paramount Plus and HBO Max are going to be merged together if this deal goes through, because there's a lot of controversy going on behind the scenes right now about whether this deal will officially get passed, because you have states and around the country declining voting against this deal for monopolistic tendencies.
I was just going to say monopoly reasons, yeah.
But when you ask, like, if this goes through, they're going to have NFL, NBA, UFC, Major League Baseball, because on TBS and TNT. They're going to have UEFA. They're going to have other soccer. They're going to have they're going to simulcast UFC off of Paramount and CBS onto TNT. I mean, this is going to be a massive, massive deal if and when this gets passed. And I'm trying to find the story I was reading about it, because they did a really good job talking about it. And just the amount of properties, and I don't know if I shared it in our Press Row chat or not. I'm just looking back really quick, but the deal was huge. I couldn't believe what's
going on. Yeah.
And now this affects the tournament too.
Yes.
March Madness, not really from a logistical standpoint, but now TNT is going to be under the same roof with CBS. So instead of them working together, now all the money is going to go to one place, because the Paramount Skydance, which owns Paramount, is going to own all the money and distribution that goes through
right
with the tournament, which that seems like a monopoly a little bit too, if you ask me.
Just a little bit.
But Christy is right, though. Put that question back up again for Christy so that people can see. So how does this affect AEW? It's going to be on more platforms. That's really the answer. Now, when they say they're going to merge HBO Max and Paramount Plus, I'm assuming it's all going to become one platform, which that's a little bit monopoly too, because some people had HBO Max and some people had Paramount Plus. But all that content is going to come together into one thing, which might be better for the customer.
Maybe.
Actually, they might charge a little bit more, but it's all going to be in one place.
Hallelujah.
I don't know how to feel about this deal fully, but I did find the investor relation report. So it is $31 a share. What they're paying. Paramount is issuing $47 billion in Class B shares. So essentially what that means is they're breaking up shares into smaller ones. So
that makes sense.
They can make it an easier deal. The transaction value is $110 billion, representing a multiple of 7.5 times their EBITDA, which is the money that they have value of the company. It's crazy what this deal is going to cause. Bunch of IP. The combined company will own a film library of more than 15,000 titles.
Holy cow.
And thousands of hours of television programming, which includes not just sports, but like Harry Potter, Mission Impossible, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones,
Star Wars, Marvel.
And the Nickelodeon catalog, too.
Yes.
Broad sports. So NFL, Olympics, UFC, PGA Tour, NHL, Big 10, Big 12 football, which is licensed from ESPN, NCAA college basketball, Champions League. So they're going to have all those rights under that huge distribution. How is this not a monopoly?
I mean, they're snatching up everything almost practically. So I would not be surprised, Nick, if this takes a long time to be, put in a, signed, sealed, delivered, cross the T's, dot the I's, and it becomes officially official.
I think Trump is going to pass it because he's friends with David Ellison, who's the CEO of Skydance. So I don't think you're going to get an issue there. The ESPN situation. I mean, you could put it that way too. Trump doesn't get along with Disney, so that's why that deal took a little bit longer. But he's got to pass the deal through the White House.
Yeah,
this is going to pass because him and Ellison are like this. So this deal is going to pass. Is it going to get fought in courts? Yes, it's going to get fought in court because they're going to charge more money with everything being under the same roof. Now, we're already going through the digital change and everything more on streaming platforms. But you're going to see more things now on Paramount Plus. Because I think the HBO name is going to go away. That's just my
I think so.
I just hope they don't make some combined ridiculous name out of it. Like, I don't know.
Paramount Brothers.
No, I'm talking about Paramount Plus and HBO Max.
Oh.
Like, what are they going to do? Like Paramount Max?
I was going to say Paramount Max.
Or well, I think they're going to hold on to Paramount because that's the name of the company. But that's a lot of sports to have under one umbrella, though.
Yeah, that probably, I think, too many sports, but who knows?
But this is going to be a fun one to watch in court because you're going to get some companies who say, you can't own all those sports. That's not allowed. Well, when you have all that money and you get past the president, you could do whatever you want. It's a billionaire sandbox, as they say.
Yes.
It's fascinating. It's a fascinating situation. In the long run, though, I think Netflix dodged a bullet. I mean, Netflix dodged a bullet because they were not going to be able to hold all that stuff up. Paramount's a much bigger company. David Ellison's a huge guy now. His father owned the business. There's a little bit of nepotism going on there. But but they have a lot more asset reliability that they can use. So they have more room to take into all this stuff. They were not going to sell off and spin off stuff like Netflix was going to with all the entertainment stuff.
Right.
They want everything. Like, think about some of the digital change we're going to see in the next 3 or 4 years even though this is not sports, the Oscars are going to YouTube in 2029.
If you can believe that. My goodness gracious.
It's going to be the first time that it's not going to be on ABC. I think they said since 1975.
Sheesh.
But that's what's happening. You're seeing more digital outreach, even whether it's entertainment or sports. Think about it with the NFL. We're going to have 9 international games coming up next year. And some of those are going to be digital. Okay.
And more to come, probably.
Oh, no. Roger wants to get to a point where he's going to have an international game every single week during the season.
Crazy.
Which, if that happens, no mas. Like, enough. Like, make it stop. Like, and you got to feel bad for season ticket holders and fans because, I paid for a ticket package, but I'm not traveling to the jungle of Brazil to go watch a damn football game.
Going to London.
You know what? If they want to do that so bad, if I was the fans, I would go and sue the NFL and say, you're going to pay for my trip to go to Brazil if I'm a full season ticket holder.
Yeah.
You can't take my game away. If I'm paying for a full season package, you're paying for my trip to go to Brazil so I can see the game.
Exactly.
That's never going to happen, though.
Of course not. All right, Nick, before we get to the top of the hour and get to hour 2, it's your favorite time of the day, sir, the weekly network update.
Yeah, so we have a lot going on. I don't know. Where should we start?
I don't know. Yeah, it's up to you.
So let's see. We have Hitting for the Cycle and MMA Outsiders on Friday this week because people don't know how to schedule properly. We also have it's a numbered card this week for the UFC. So our man Tom Albano is going to do a UFC 326 post show. I have to stop saying post game because they tell me it's not post game and
post fight.
UFC post fight show. And let me because I'm just looking at the graphic. That is Holloway versus Oliveira 2. The
From
BMF
T-Mobile
title.
in Vegas.
Yes, the BMF title, as they call it, which is not a real title, but they just wanted to have fun with that. So we have that. We also have a new person joining the network, which we literally finalized that yesterday. His name is Nate Miller. He does a show called Give and Takes, which is going to be part of our network very, very soon in the next couple of weeks. And then he's going to be part of a lot of our other live shows, including you get to have someone anchored on the lounge, finally.
Yes.
He's into all sports, which is great. He's into betting. So just make sure you check him out. Do we have his platforms? Because I want to make sure I give him out properly so people can go start finding the shows. I want to make sure we promote our new show with the right.
Yeah, it's literally at Given Takes, GIVIN Takes. And then Nate's official Instagram account is I'm Nate Miller. I am Nate, Nate, Miller, like Miller Lite.
By the way, that collab that he put out has been seen 1,200 times on Instagram. If you didn't get a chance to see it, he collabed our logo with theirs to announce that he's coming part of our network. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people. So he's a really good guy. What would you say? Our meeting went well with him?
Very well yesterday. Very open, very candid, and also a lot of questions being asked, though, which we enjoy.
I'd rather people ask questions than not. Let's put it that way. But he's into sports betting, which I like. So you might see him pop up on Forecast or Forever Power 5. He's going to be a utility guy, even though he's doing his own show, and we're going to air that. You're going to see him pop up on a bunch of other things. You might see him on our college sports show, our college basketball show, college football show. Like I said, on the ETB Lounge, which you host on Mondays. So I'm looking forward to that. That's an able body that can go anywhere, we need more of those types of people, actually, that can kind of rotate into different shows and be a help. So you'll see Nate like in the next week or two probably join us, and you'll see his show pop up on our platforms too, and you'll see him on a bunch of our live stuff. So looking forward to that. I don't know what's happening with Trevor. Is Trevor going to be back for Saturday? I think he told me it was going to be too late on Friday.
It might be cutting it close, he said.
So we'll have to figure out if we can find someone else to host that. But obviously, you get all your Saturday shows too, Between the Ropes, and the Lounge will be on Saturday this coming week, or the coming weekend, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time with Nick DiMartino, with some other people already confirmed. So we got our weekend ahead. Zanzinger on Sunday, football, Gridiron Gurus on Sunday. So we're back to our normal scheduling. So all our programming is back in the right place. We are working towards March Madness Selection Sunday programming, which we should have announced by next week. Because stupidly, they planned it at 6 and 8 o'clock right after one another, which I don't get how that makes any sense.
Neither do I.
But a lot to come at ETB Network for our platform. Follow the network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, youtube.com/ETB Network. Find us over there. And more to come.
More to come, including hour 2. And also, by the way, we're an hour away from Blake Bolden joining the show at 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern. So stay tuned for that. We got a very nice conversation with one of the real rising stars in sports media, which is Blake Bolden, in about an hour plus. All right, Nick, a new bombshell investigation by Pablo Torre has officially identified former LSU star and current Bulls guard Antonio Blakeney as what is being called Co-Conspirator 1 in the NBA's massive gambling scandal. Shockingly enough, though, law enforcement has confirmed that Antonio is still active and playing under the radar despite his alleged role in the scheme. Nick, how has a named co-conspirator in a federal gambling probe managed to stay active on a professional roster without a public suspension from the league front office?
This just goes to show you the NBA is ass backwards. I told you the reports that they said that, 12 out of the 31 are going to be offered plea deals.
Almost half are being offered that, exactly.
Which that goes to show you that there is guilt somewhere in there, that there was illegal gambling and illegal poker games going on. Pablo Torre does it again, by the way. For a guest I really want, he's one I would want to talk to on this show, because he knows way more information than most people know. And he's got a good team.
Yeah, I mean, our good man David Sampson, obviously, Nick, we talked, I think, a couple weeks ago about the new birth of the Kawhi Leonard aspiration scandal. He literally, Nick, had David Sampson hold up the legal document like it was like him holding up a brand new leaf of paper from Staples.
This thing had to be what, like 80 pages, 90 pages?
I think maybe more.
I mean, how he gets his mitts on these legal documents is crazy. And if I'm not mistaken, he said that Kawhi, his uncle, and even the NBA were in on receiving money. If the NBA was in on receiving money, we got a whole different issue.
Corruption.
Yeah, but not just aspiration, corruption. Like,
yeah.
If Kawhi is getting handouts, then he should be suspended. Like, I'm talking about like year-long suspension, if that means he has to, or maybe his contract's got to be void.
Null and void. And that, Nick, though, with this story, though, that Torre and the team broke, though, again, this, Nick, just goes back to a point that we have regurgitated for the last 3 weeks, either on here, Lounge, MTGP, and
our emergency streams.
I mean, the simple fact, Nick, that this cloud is still hanging over the NBA, and they still are not anywhere near solving that mystery. But they are more worried about the Utah Jazz tanking a game in February when they win the game.
Or the Pacers.
again, the Jazz win that game. They get a $500,000 fine. They're more worried about that than about Antonio Blakeney playing for the Bulls, now being named co-conspirator one in the October scandal that broke out, like, what, a week into the season starting?
Something like that. Yeah.
Give me a
I
break.
mean, I again, this is politicking, not real politicking, sports politicking. And again, it's almost like the NBA is releasing little bits of information because they don't want it to look like a full-on panic situation, that they have gambling issues going on after all the gambling deals that the NBA made and MLB made and all these leagues have made. It's funny how they want to get in bed with the gambling companies. And I'm saying this again, I know I'm a broken record, but it's a fact that these guys are getting caught up in these gambling deals and these gambling companies. Look at Giannis, who owns almost 1% of Calci, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which I still think is wrong and they should not allow it.
I agree.
But according to the NBA and Mr. Beaker, Adam Silver, that, as long as you own under 1% of gambling companies, it's allowed. How about no?
How about you actually get off your ass and actually do something? Quit being buddy with the entire player, with all the players of the NBA, and actually do your damn job.
You know what's funny? The players didn't like David Stern. Okay. But you know what? David Stern was one of the better commissioners that the NBA had.
Yeah. Are you, Nick, and I don't think I mentioned this in the Miracles Echo episode, but I went back and rewatched the movie that Disney made about the Miracle in 2004. Herb Brooks had a line, Kurt Russell, obviously, when he was, portraying Coach Brooks. There was a line that he said when he first introduced himself to the 26 guys in that arena after camp. I'll be your coach. I won't be your friend. If any one of those, talk to Dr. Coach Patrick here. That is how the commissioner's office, in a way, should be. You are there to do your job. You're not there to be buddy with LeBron and Harden and all the boys. You're not one of the boys. You're there to lead the NBA and lead the NBA on a day-by-day basis.
You run the business.
You run the business. If they need friends, go and have them go and talk to their guys in the league, but not with you, the commissioners of the league.
If you want to be friends, go be an owner. Go be an investor, but you can't be the commissioner. The commissioner's trying too hard to be friends with the players in the league because he thinks if he's got the dynamic of the players behind him, then there won't be any issues. And that's the problem here, that people hated David Stern. Now, am I saying David Stern was perfect? No, I'm not, because no commissioner is perfect. But at the same time, David Stern was not afraid to penalize the players when they did something stupid on or off the court. Adam Silver is afraid to penalize players on and off the court or gives them small punishments. Look what happened in the whole situation when Adam Silver was on the first Amazon broadcast.
Yeah, and that was what I think drove us nuts, was how can you have this story break the day of Prime Video launching, and the interview is done with Cassidy Hubbarth in the tunnel with terrible lighting while the game is in progress? How is this not done pregame? How is this not done at halftime with the sit-down interview post-game leading up to the game, but it's done in the middle of that game while the game's in progress?
Oh, and also he was not going to answer any questions at all, because every time they kept asking him a question, like, oh, it's a legal thing. You got to talk to our legal team. Adam, stop. Like, just admit you have a problem in your league. You have a gambling problem in your league. Think about the guys who were at the top of that investigation. Chauncey Billups, who apparently had a gambling problem. You also had Damon Jones, who was a LeBron. And if you remember LeBron's name got dragged through the mud with his team because of getting information from LeBron's team about gambling.
Yeah, wasn't like LeBron and Steph Curry's name used as like decoy names?
Yes. Yes. I mean, but no, let's allow Giannis to own just under 1% of Calci after there was a market listed on Kalshi saying, is he going to get traded or not? And then it comes out once that market is finished that you're now an owner of Kalshi. Adam, come on.
So again, that went to my point, though. What was worse, though, the college approving gambling the day of the scandal breaking out, or Giannis and the Kalshi announcement an hour after the trade deadline came and win in the NBA. I mean, they both were stupid when it came to timing.
They're both stupid, but I would say the Kalshi situation is worse because he owns a gambling company. Even though, it's not gambling because it's yes or no questions, or it's terminology of words. Guys, Callan and I and the network have been down this track before. We know how prediction markets work because I got zapped multiple times for using the word bet instead of play.
Oh, wait, you said he got zapped?
Ow. You're next.
That was a close one.
Welcome back.
That was a closer one.
Welcome back. Hey, how come when they act up, all they get is the welcome wagon? If you ask me, it's...
That's literally the league. When they try to say, oh, well, you guys shouldn't do that, but we'll allow you to do it anyway, zap. Like, I don't know how you... Adam, don't allow anyone to be involved in gambling. There shouldn't be allowed. And then you see LeBron commercials for gambling, which, by the way, he can't do the NBA because that's not allowed. But apparently he's allowed to do stuff with Kevin Hart for NFL betting. You don't think that's a little hypocritical, slightly?
It is. I mean, it's almost like it's I just had it too. I mean, hypocrisy sounds like one thing in a way, right?
You shouldn't see any current athletes in gambling commercials at all. That should not be allowed.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's a little flaky even when retired players are in gambling commercials. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, I for sure think the same thing as well when it comes to it, though. I'm eager. I'm really eager, though, Nick, to see though what more will Pablo literally find out though in the next, I'd say, week, maybe his next episode.
Well, he's always finding out stuff. He's always 5 steps ahead of everybody, which is incredible. But the problem, even with but Nick, what do you mean retired players are the problem? They're still connected to athletes that are currently in the leagues.
Correct.
That's the problem. That's a huge problem. And we saw former players were involved in this poker rigging scandal.
I believe, wasn't Arenas one of them? He got arrested, I think, for illegally playing games in his home in Southern California because he didn't have a license.
Correct. But I'm talking about the face cards scandal where Kevin Garnett's name allegedly came out of that
Kevin
one.
Garnett's name popped up in there.
Tyronn Lue?
Yeah, Tyronn Lue's name popped up.
I'm just saying there were former players who still consult or do stuff for the league.
I mean, Tyronn Lue's the head coach of the damn Clippers.
Right. Which, by the way, somehow he escaped without having any issues in this whatsoever.
I'm very shocked about that, on top of the aspiration nonsense that team is dealing with still.
How the Clippers have not been thrown any penalties yet for all the shit that they're involved in.
And that goes back to leadership, Nick, where we were led to believe when the first salvo got, made about Kawhi and the Clippers that, we'll have the verdict for you after the All-Star game in England.
I knew that was a lie. That was a complete farce.
And now here we are in March, and there's still no punishment. So is this going to be, we'll wait till the season's over when the team doesn't make the playoffs and when their season actually ends? Give me a break.
Yeah, give me a break. They were never going to have this verdict because you know what? Behind the scenes, they're trying to find the most politically correct way.
We can't banish Ballmer because he's the richest guy in the game.
And we don't want to screw over Kawhi because Kawhi is still a big name in the sport. So if we take the money away,
cares?
his uncle's going to obliterate us.
Well, who cares? Who the hell is Uncle Dennis anyway, in the first place?
He's got a little too much power. They're afraid of someone who shouldn't have this much power.
I mean, in a way, does it remind you a lot of when LeVar Ball, how he was with the Lakers?
God, Tom and I still have nightmares because
to the fact where the Lakers of all professional sports franchises had to put out a press memo. Please stop interviewing LeVar Ball before games.
You blame them though?
Hell no.
I mean, if I was the owner at that current point, I'd say, hey, LeVar, shut the fuck up and stop causing us PR nightmares. Seriously, it's a huge issue. And Ballmer doesn't keep his mouth shut ever, which is a problem. And then you have Ballmer denying everything, because are you really that surprised he would deny it? No.
No, of course not.
All right. Speaking of gambling,
Underdog Fantasy, Nick, is now in the limelight for layoffs, too, as Underdog Fantasy has laid off over 20% of their staff, 125 employees, as it pivots towards prediction markets. But crucially, though, Morgasen, I wish I could, Michael Gay, but here's the kicker. Crucially, the cuts, though, include 2/3 of Underdog's fraud operations team, the group solely responsible for monitoring platform integrity. Nick, by Underdog gutting their fraud and security teams while moving into the volatile world of prediction markets, is Underdog now inviting a regulatory nightmare in exchange for higher profit margins?
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Thank you, Cam Ward.
I laughed at this when I first saw the report, not because of lost jobs. Let me be very clear about that. No one should lose their jobs. But you cut the fraud department with all the gambling issues going on right now in sports?
Emotional damage.
No, it's more like how do you cut the fraud department? How? Help me here.
Boy, oh boy, Nick. Just when you think that you've got a grasp on the prediction market in the daily fantasy sports world, this happens right here. And I think, Nick, this is a major fumble by Underdog, who, again, they are one of the only two marketplaces allowed in California for wagering. It's either Underdog or PrizePicks, as I have long said. You know, the Ducks and the Ducks literally have ads now for Underdog in the top right corner of the Victory Plus streams, which by the way, Nick, the starting lineup now for the Ducks on Victory Plus is brought to you by Cowshy.
No.
Yes. And I literally told you, I think, off air leading up to today's show that there was an ad for Polymarket at the SDFC St. Louis match, and I nearly took a photo and flipped it off, and I forgot to do so. But there was an ad for Polymarket at this game on Sunday, and now the Ducks have now I don't know if it's the Ducks or if it's Victory Plus, who has the sponsorship now with Cowshy on top of this Underdog logo being in the top right corner. But away from that, though, the only legal places for now was Underdog and PrizePicks here in my neck of the woods, though. But again, what a fumble to let go of the fraud and security departments, Nick, of the workforce. Now, again, it was about 20% of the workforce, 125 employees, though. But again, Nick, I think we have talked at length, though, regarding like Jonte Porter, for example, Terry Rozier, who also came to mind too. All the UFC or some UFC fights that all got flagged for suspicious betting activity. Now Underdog, in a way, Nick, is throwing the firewall protection out the window and burning it.
Well, I was going to say also, because you mentioned Polymarket, UFC has a huge deal with Polymarket now. Thanks, Dana White.
Oh, you can't be serious.
It's in the octagons now. The official prediction market of the UFC. But I have the story up. The layoffs, which took place February 27th, affect 125 people, included cuts in the fraud operations department, as well as areas like customer support, graphics, marketing, and drafts. I don't know what drafts is. Product offering daily and season-long draft-based games. Okay. Following the cuts, Underdog has a little over 500 employees left. Some very long-time employees who were among the first 50 to ever join the company were let go like it was nothing. One person who was laid off told FOS. Another says that Kimberly Pointer Corbett, who was hired as the chief marketing officer in September, was among those affected.
Good Lord.
Underdog is most known for its daily fantasy sports offerings and had been getting into traditional sports betting. But how could they? They don't have those rights, right?
I don't think so. Let me check.
So it says what went down. Employees began work that day with no idea that layoffs were on the horizon, which is not unusual when corporate cuts happen. There were 2 meetings held concurrently before lunchtime. One for employees getting laid off and another for employees who were not. One laid off employee told front office sports. Yes.
They do have spreads and money lines now on Underdog.
Wow.
On top of the regular SGA higher or lower than predictions as they have long had.
They must have gotten legal precedent. Okay.
I'm guessing so.
But it says one laid off employee tells front office sports the meeting for those who were not being laid off was led by Brandon Stakenborg, former co-CEO of Underdog, who is listed as a founder and executive at the company on LinkedIn. Stakenborg, quote, expressed sympathy for the people in the other meeting and, quote, told everyone who was safe that they could feel free to take the rest of the day off. Underdog founder and CEO Jeremy Levine spoke briefly in the meeting for employees being dismissed, and multiple people who spoke with FOS say he appeared and sounded upset. After the meeting with the laid-off employees was over, Levine joined the other meeting and spoke to the staff that will remain with the company. According to a person familiar with the matter, in total, FOS spoke to 8 laid-off employees for the story. In a statement, Levine attributed the layoffs to the company's transition from a business focused on state-by-state framework to a national prediction markets platform with seamless offerings across the country. Oh, cut your bullshit.
Make it stop.
You're going AI, you're going prediction market, and you don't need as many employees because prediction markets and AIs run themselves.
Correct.
And that's why, like, I'm having problems finding work in this field because everything is becoming automated. Everything is becoming AI. You don't need as many people to run the operations side of the business anymore. That's just the God honest truth at this point. But to lay off 125 people, like, I remember when Tom and I discussed the ESPN layoffs, that they had multiple 300-person layoffs.
Yes.
And some were really big names.
Steve Young came to mind, for example.
A lot of names. And they tried to say, oh, well, we have to do it to save the business. All right, guys, come on. ESPN's worth how much money? Disney's worth how much money?
Oh, yeah, come on.
Now, they still had to pay those people. Just because you lay them off, those are all contract workers. So some of those people were making millions of dollars to sit on the shelf, which that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Max Kellerman was paid a lot of money to sit on the shelf until he finally came back.
Right.
He was making like $5 million a year,
if not more.
So I don't know. If you were laid off making $5 million a year, would you be miserable at it? That you'd have to sit on the side making the $5 million a year, or would you want to find a way to work?
I mean,
you wouldn't be hurting as much.
I wouldn't be hurting as much as like maybe people's current situations are, but I mean, $5 million to kind of sit around and wait for a new job, sure.
Because apparently, like, he was like itching, like he wanted to work. I think he just didn't want to see his time get passed by, probably. Now, Max is a big name, regardless. But he was basically told he couldn't do anything, like social media, couldn't do anything. Because that was probably the rules. Hey, we're giving you the $5 million a year. Don't say anything about it.
Hush, be quiet.
You're not allowed to do any other content. We're paying you basically to sit on the shelf. I don't know why he couldn't do a podcast, though, on his own.
Yeah, I mean, because I know that he had, obviously, boxing's been his forte. He had the First Take run for a bit, and then I think
Max Unboxing also was on.
Stephen A. forced him off of First Take because he didn't like getting put into his place by Max all the time.
Because Max is smarter than he is.
Yeah, sounds like a former host of this network that I always put into his place every day of the week that ends in the letter Y and twice on Sunday.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Max was a Harvard grad. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then he had Mad Max Unboxing as
That was a
well.
great show too.
And then he even had the radio gig too on ESPN 710 before they gutted the LA studios.
Well, and then he was the national host for the morning show.
Right.
And then he did This Just In because they had to give him a show because he wasn't doing the national radio show. That national radio show was a disaster.
Yeah, it was awful.
That was what? That was Keyshawn. There was Keyshawn Johnson, Max, and Zubin Mehenti. Which
Yes.
Is Zubin Mehenti even still working at ESPN anymore? Like I
I
don't even
think so.
That show was a nightmare. Like that show made no sense whatsoever. But these layoffs, it hurts. It's bad. It still makes me nervous. Like I know it's not directly our industry, but it's connected to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's only fair though that you would kind of feel that way at this rate. It's totally understandable.
This industry is cutthroat. Like I knew it was cutthroat to begin with. It's even worse now with automation processes and AIs. Heck, we're using AIs to do a lot of the stuff we're doing. No, we're real. We're real here.
Don't worry, we are real.
We are real. But everything can be automated now. Radio stations can be fully automated. That already started when I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, we had software where parts of the weekend, like, so whoever was on shift beforehand, when it got to a certain time of the weekend, everything was timed out, including the news to hit at the top of every hour. It literally would just run itself. We had to leave the faders up and on, and that was it. And it ran itself with nobody in the studio. Think about that.
That's crazy.
When you and I worked in radio, there was no such thing as leaving a studio unmanned.
No.
Weekends or during the week. I didn't know what that was like.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in college running the board and learning it, when I was doing country music and sports talk, I mean, I may have stepped out for like 30 seconds to use the bathroom, for example.
But there was something playing.
But there was music playing, or was that commercial break where it wasn't like anything too out of control.
Right. And
except that one time the EAS test came through and it about knocked me out of the chair.
I my whole story with EAS tests, but this is not a surprise. If people are asking me whether I think this is a surprise, it's not a surprise. It's the way, and prediction markets are gonna destroy this business.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only getting worse, and I think I've long said that it's only going to get worse before it gets better. I mean, with every team in some way striking a deal with Underdog, Prize Picks, DraftKings, FanDuel, you name it, man. I mean, it's become the name of the game now, and obviously we've talked about the NBA at length. We've talked about, oh, well, what about Pete Rose? He should be in the Hall of Fame, and stuff like that.
Should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean, he should be now. I mean, I know that the lifetime ban is actually finally done because he sadly passed.
Yeah, but it's bullshit that he passed away. Oh, well, the ban is finally lifted. You asshole.
Yep.
Rob, you lifted it after he died? What are you, adding insult to injury?
I mean, after all the years that he pleaded his case and, wanted to be reinstated for sure. Awful.
First of all, as soon as they signed the dotted line for all those deals to work with the betting companies,
that should have right there gotten Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson off the hook.
They should have avoided. I don't know about Shoeless Joe Jackson because they threw a World Series. Pete Rose was throwing games, but he never threw a World Series.
No,
at least to my knowledge, he hasn't. But I would say Pete Rose is the greatest player of all time. I think it's debatable, right? Like. Uh-oh. Yes.
We have breaking news from the NFL from Underdog Fantasy, believe it or not, Nick.
Yes.
Stephon Diggs released by the Patriots.
Oh, wow.
I am going to be of the belief that is all stemming from the off-the-field lawsuits that happened during the course of the NFL playoffs this past season.
Well, it was before that. They got delayed because they were in the playoffs. And actually, Ian Rappaport just tweeted it out 21 seconds ago. It was an Instagram post, apparently from himself.
Which, by the way, this news comes out a day after the release of Kyler Murray was announced by the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, and you're going to see more. You might see Tua get released at some point. So, I don't know.
Oh.
We'll see.
We have a couple of updates here from Mr. Bando, it looks like.
That's not what you said to me when you were talking to me. Maybe next time clarify that when you're writing that in the messages.
No, this is Patrick.
Not at the Krusty Krab. Patrick, that's the name of the restaurant. No, it's fish-based. But, yeah, apparently, like, everyone is reporting, but it came from Stephon Diggs' Instagram story.
So that is developing news in the NFL with Stephon Diggs being released per reports from the Patriots.
That's not a surprise. I mean, the guy was a head case. Apparently choking out his private chef, which...
Finally getting to a Super Bowl after all those years being so close with the Buffalo Bills, and now he's released.
You know what the sick part is? If they had won the Super Bowl, like, watch, the charges would have been dropped. I know for a fact they probably would have been dropped if they had won the Super Bowl.
I mean, wouldn't surprise me at all.
Oh, it looks like we have some other breaking news too. Where is my? Thank you. Tom Brady's Fanatics flag football event, planned for March 21st, is likely moving from Saudi Arabia to the U.S.
Gee, I wonder why.
Gee, it wouldn't be the problems out there, would it?
Yes.
Well, let's do some discovery since there's a front office sports story here. The flag football event planned by Tom Brady and Fanatics for Saudi Arabia later this month is likely moving to the United States amid the growing regional war. Gee.
Tell me something I don't know.
Tell me something good. Oh,
yeah, we sure about that?
The Fanatics Flag Football Classic was scheduled for, and I'm going to get this wrong. Was it Riyadh?
Yeah, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, on March 21st, but is trending toward moving because of airstrikes and travel restrictions in the region. A specific location is unclear at this point, but an unofficial announcement about the move could come as soon as this week. So,
you do?
Brady doesn't want to make a deal with it. I'm just looking to see if there was anything else. Fox Sports and Tubi are still set to broadcast the showcase, which will be hosted by Kevin Hart and remain on March 21st. An airtime had not been set yet, but playing in the U.S. would give the event a much friendlier viewing window for American
because
fans,
of the time change,
which is 8 hours ahead of the East Coast. Brady, whose Shadow Lion Studios producing the event, is set to be joined by NFL stars with the announced lineup including Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey, Sauce Gardner, Myles Garrett, Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham Jr., and Rob Gronkowski. So the event is coming to the States.
As it should have been, as opposed to taking the money from Saudi Arabia.
Well, the money is still coming from Saudi Arabia. It's just being played in the States.
I wonder where they're going to play those games at. Where they're gonna eventually move those or move the event to.
I don't even know anymore.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida, Arizona,
California. I don't
California. I don't even know anymore. But stop giving Brady money, please. For the good God, he doesn't need any more money. Who asked for?
No, he doesn't.
Who asked for a stupid flag football event anyway?
Nobody did. Oh, Zan's of the belief it'll be Vegas or Arizona.
Makes sense.
I mean, Vegas would make the most sense with him owning part of the Raiders.
Yeah, you're right. That would probably make the most sense. All right, what else we got?
Well, let's move on, Nick, to more involving the Padres and their ongoing ownership sale. A new contender has entered the ring. Former San Diego Charger quarterback and Saints legend Drew Brees and Vori founder and University of San Diego alum Joe Kudla have now emerged as leaders of one of the 5 final groups vying to buy the Padres. They're now positioned to be the homegrown alternative to billionaires like Joe Lacob, which now joins the pool that has already been announced of Dan Friedkin, Joe Lacob, Jose Feliciano, a potential South Korean consortium, even and possibly even Mr. Sir Mohammed Mansour, who owns San Diego Football Club, and now the Drew Brees campaign. Nick, in your mind, though, does the Brees Kudla group have the liquid capital to compete with Joe Lacob, or is their move mainly about the PR value of returning a local icon back to the San Diego sports scene?
They're not going to have enough liquid capital. You're going up against billionaire upon billionaire who has billions of dollars. Lacob is worth what? Close to $4 billion, $5 billion.
Dan Friedkin is still the lead guy at number 1 because he's worth over $10 billion.
That guy could eat Brees and Kudla for lunch if he wanted to. I think we talked about this a couple nights ago. PR and local value means nothing. Dollar signs is what matters to these selling ownerships. So would it be a good story if they own the team? Yeah, sure. Because Brees was a Charger and grew up in San Diego and all that stuff. It's just not going to happen.
He now lives here permanently.
It's just not going to happen because they just don't have the money to front what the team is going to be worth.
Yeah, that, and there's also been some rumblings too that Brees and Kudla may jump ship to one of the other groups to add their name to it because the Seidler family's been pretty kind of in a way hell-bent that there needs to be some kind of local tie to the ownership so the franchise won't be moved out of San Diego, as we've already talked about numerous times.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything because say even if they put that in, they're not going to be the major ownership stake in the team. Brees and Kudla.
No, they would just be as part of the investor group along with whatever group they choose to put themselves with.
So even if they put a local person in and say they own what, 5%, maybe
5-10%,
not even, it might be less, depending, like 2-3%. That doesn't. They're not going to have any power to say, "Oh, don't move it. I'm from San Diego." That's not going to matter. Now, I think Lacob, the Warriors owner, he would be more likely to keep it in San Diego than some of the other guys because a lot of the others are soccer owners. So soccer owners are used to moving their teams around nonstop all the time.
Well, I mean, they only own teams over in Europe, and those teams hardly ever move.
But I'm just saying they're not afraid to move their teams if they have to.
So as it stands today on March the 4th, Dan Friedkin still leads the group with the net worth of over $11 billion. Dan is also a born and raised San Diego native, but also owns the 2 soccer clubs over in Italy and in Europe or England, which makes him the formidable contender for a record-breaking solo purchase. Joe Lacob is at number 2. The Warriors owner continues to be the most vocal about his blueprint for winning. He is bidding through a group and has spent significant time in San Diego over the last 2 weeks to touring Petco Park. Jose E. Feliciano is currently at number 3, the co-owner of Chelsea FC and co-founder of Clear Lake Capital, which, Nick, that one, though, is a little bit interesting. If, in fact, Feliciano gets the bid, he'd be competing against his own Chelsea FC owner in Todd Bowley, who helps own the Dodgers. That'd be interesting if that actually happened.
I mean, talk about real competitive spirit at that point for a franchise.
There's still, though, rumors about the South Korean consortium group, and then, of course, the Brees Kudla or a Kudla local soul group, which, again, we'll probably see them more about a leaping onto somebody. Reports have said, though, that while they were initially reported as leading a independent bid, they did not submit a formal lead offer. Instead, they are currently interviewing to join one of the 5 groups as minority partners. Brees and Kudla would offer the San Diego connection that the Padres' current chairman, John Seidler, has laid out and requested in plain wording for the last several weeks. Any lead bidder who brings them on board effectively secures a hometown seal of approval, which could be the deciding factor if prices are competitive. And then there is the outlier about Sir Mohammed Mansour, who currently owns San Diego Football Club of Major League Soccer. This is due to the fact that Mohammed has not publicly confirmed his lead bidder status this week. His camp has been exploring the logistics of a unified San Diego sports ecosystem, and they're only getting involved, Nick, because Manny Machado is also an investor of SDFC.
Remember how I said like current athletes are very invested, involved, and that's why I said to keep the gambling out of it because there's so much connection to everything. That's what this is. Like you're directly connected to the players or to every other. Also, it's a much different era now where current players are invested in other franchises from other sports. So now they have direct connections to other things outside of sports. So I don't know. Do I think Brees in the long run is going to end up? I don't think so.
No, because at one point, Nick, the Padres ownership had Phil Mickelson and Troy Aikman, who had like minority stakes of the Padre franchise about 15 years ago. So this is nothing new.
True. I guess we'll see what happens. I just don't know.
What do we got?
ESPN PR. ESPN Networks to present the inaugural NCAA Women's Wrestling Championship, March 6th and 7th, and the NCAA Division I Men's Wrestling Championship, March 19th to March 21st.
On ESPN, or is this going to be on like ESPNU or ESPN2?
It says ESPN Networks.
So all the family and networks will be hosting some college wrestling.
Well, let's see what the schedule says, because I just pulled it up. All right, let's see. ESPNU in the daytime, which makes sense because that's college.
College.
And then it says ESPN Plus.
What else is new?
And it's going to be called the Mattcast.
Genius. I like it.
I originally I thought it was going to be like on ESPN, like the women's wrestling, because I was thinking it had to do with that Women's Sports Sunday, which people are so offended by.
Except for us two, MS Network.
Right. Do we have time for any other stories? Or
we have a lot of time to kill before we get to the top of the hour and take a break for the Blake Bolden sit-down interview, which I'm looking forward to hosting.
Can we talk about the Atlanta Hawks situation, with the thing they're running on Mondays?
Oh, Magic City Mondays?
Yeah. Can we address that? Because I think that's a unique. I just want to pull up the Magic City Monday story, because now a lot of players are like jumping in and trying to kill it.
And that began with Luke Cornett, and then Al Horford also joined in the mix. And now it sounds like we have more players who are now jumping on the bandwagon of thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. So the Hawks are running what I think it's called Magic City Mondays.
Magic City Mondays, yes.
And for most people who don't know what Magic City is, that is a strip club, a famous strip club in Atlanta, Georgia, which has been around for a very long time.
Lou Williams.
Well, if you want lemon pepper wings, go ask Lou Williams, because he broke protocol to go get them. But apparently they're running the Hawks are running a promotion, and I'm trying to find all the credible information on it.
It was supposed to be like a Monday weekly celebration of the club and its history in the city, and we've had a bunch of players now say thanks, but no thanks.
So I'm just trying to read the quotes correctly. The NBA should desire to protect and esteem women, many of whom work diligently every day to make this the best basketball league in the world. Cornette continued, we should promote an atmosphere that is protective and respectful of the daughters, wives, sisters, mothers, and partners that we know and love. Allowing this night to go forward without protest would reflect poorly on us as an NBA community, specifically in being complicit in the potential objectification and mistreatment of women in our society. Al Horford came out and spoke against it too. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this promotion.
No, Nick. And you know what? It's a very interesting parallel I can draw, because I think I remember telling you when the Padres jumped from 94-9 to 97-3, 97.3 had gone from being top 40 adult contemporary music to a shock jock hot mic style format initially.
Great.
They went to music bits, comedy bits from, I think, KSIX up in Seattle. And of course, everyone here locally remembers the ill-fated Kevin Kline introduction to the station on Padres opening day, where there were social media graphics advertising his show with the word jump, by the way, by the San Diego Coronado Bay Bridge.
Where most suicides happen.
And the Padres even went to KEGY and said, this guy better be off this station by tomorrow, or we're leaving, or we're going to be moving our rights to a different platform or different radio station. Because Nick, Ron Fowler, who was a part of the ownership, even said, baseball and sports is about family-friendly atmospheres in a way. Not Artie Moreno's logic, but, about that sort of thing. When you have baseball games being played on a formatted station of the time around comedy bits, locker room talk, music bits, playing Pink Floyd's Welcome to the Machine every top of the hour because that's what the station was called, and you're stunting with different formats for an entire day, yeah, you've got Padre baseball for an hour beforehand with the pregame show, the game in an hour-long postgame show. That doesn't fill the quota. Then you have idiots like Kevin Kline make that stupid remark about their show coming to the market on what was 97.3 The Machine. With that stupid thing, he got sued by the photographer for illegally using the photograph without giving him proper credit, and he never formally got on the air to apologize for what, of course, had gone on. He now, I think, works at K-Rock in Los Angeles, I want to say, or something along those lines.
Yes. Yep.
But now here, though, Nick, is this parallel. We're going to honor a strip club in Atlanta, Georgia at a NBA basketball game when there's families in the stands. What are we doing here?
Well, hold that thought for a second. So there's a developing story right now currently on Chauncey Billups as I'm watching.
Oh, baby.
As I'm watching on NBA Today right next to me on the screen. Chauncey Billups officially returns to court for status hearing in poker game case. He has officially pled not guilty to money laundering and wire fraud charges.
So does that make it now 13 individuals who now will have pled not guilty to the charges at hand?
Well, we were talking about ones that were getting plea bargain.
Yes, bargains, yes.
He's officially pleading not guilty, so I'm assuming he's not going to take a plea deal? Sounds like?
That's what it sounds like.
That's a pretty risky thing, considering he was at the top of the list.
Yikes. I mean, he was the first real big name that came out when the whole thing happened there.
I mean, he's the head coach of the Trailblazers.
Basketball Hall of Famer. Basketball
Hall
Hall of Famer? Yes, Basketball Hall of Famer.
To be honest, if he gets indicted and
how's he not barred from the Hall of Fame?
I would take him out of the Hall of Fame. But unfortunately, Hall of Fames are not the, what do they say, the Hall of Positivity?
Yes.
But yeah, that's a big story that apparently he pled not guilty. So I guess we'll see. But I want to go back to this story for a second. So Magic City celebrated 40 years with a 5-part Stars docuseries called Magic City and American Fantasy. And it was produced by Hawks principal owner Jamie Gertz.
Yikes. Again, what are we doing here in Atlanta?
It also says, let me just make sure I get this right. Magic City founder Michael, Mr. Magic Barney, and T.I. are scheduled to record a live podcast from inside Atlanta's State Farm Arena before the game. I don't blame the players, by the way. This is a horrible look.
I'm glad that there's actually people with backbones out there speaking out about this crap.
And Cornette went on to say, I'd like to encourage the league, its owners and players and fans to hold the Atlanta Hawks to a higher standard of what they find worthy of promoting. I and others thought the league were surprised by and object to the Hawks' decision. We desire to provide an environment where fans of all ages can safely come and enjoy the game of basketball, like you were saying, and where we can celebrate the history and culture of communities in good conscience. The celebration of a strip club is not conduct aligned with that vision.
Nick, what's the old disclaimer that you hear sometimes when there is a show that is on a station, but it is not a official show? The views and opinions expressed on this show are not reflective of those of WABC Radio New York or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Luke Cornett, in a way, is saying that the views expressed by the Atlanta Hawks to run Magic City Monday do not reflect the views of the NBA players and even the league as a whole.
Here's the problem, though. So you're right. Technically, the teams are all representative of the league, but the owners have the sole ownership of their franchise and what they do in their arenas and what they do in their expected areas. So this is kind of the debate of, is this individuality or is this a league-wide issue that has to be taken care of?
Well, I mean, for right now, it's only one franchise who's embroiled in the hot water right now, and not 25.
No. I'm saying, does the league have to get involved, or is this considered individuality because it's a team making a decision, not for the league?
I would think it is, it's an individual thing. But I think if you have players, though, Nick, in the league expressing their disagreement with this,
I agree with you. This is vile.
Why is the league not stepping in some capacity?
No, but I agree with you. This is vile. Like, we're talking
Absolutely
about
vile.
that a sport that's watched by kids every single day. You're going to put strip clubs and the promotion for strip clubs in front of kids?
Now, my only question is this a one-time thing, or is this for every Monday home game the remainder of the season?
That's what I'm trying to look up.
Because if this is a one-time thing, okay, maybe, but never do it again. But if you're doing it every Monday home game, then you are absolutely way off base.
So it says,
and not just that, by the way, the Hawks are in a play-in tournament spot right now at 31-31.
The Atlanta Hawks Magic City Monday promotion on March 16th. So I guess it sounds like it's one day. Against the Orlando Magic celebrates the iconic Atlanta strip club as a cultural institution featuring exclusive merchandise, lemon pepper wings, and a performance by T.I. Despite criticism from NBA players like Luke Cornett regarding the promotion of adult venue, the team is proceeding with the event anyway. And it says, context, the promotion aims to highlight a major part of Atlanta's cultural and hip-hop scene. Okay, but there are kids in there.
Yeah, come on now. It's literally a strip club, people. I get it. Do whatever you can to honor the city, but not in this way. I mean, for a team, Nick, who prides itself on wearing the MLK Jr. jersey every Martin Luther King Jr. Day, this is not it. I'm sorry. This is not it.
If you want to go to a bar and hold a 21 and up night, be my guest. If the Hawks want to hold a 21 and up night in a bar, that's their right. They're allowed.
Yes.
But not in an arena.
Yes.
Where fans from 5 to 95 can be in there.
Correct.
That's the problem here. Like, you know what, though? You're going to get some people in the comments who are going to say, oh, grow up, adults, blah, 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 blah. You're in the public where anything can happen. Okay, but how about show a standard? Why? Just because we're in public and it's a free country doesn't mean you have no control.
I agree.
Why? You want to send kids a bad message? Oh, it's okay to promote strip clubs. Let's look at it this way. Are we naive that those businesses exist? No. Okay. We know that there's that activity out there. But don't cloudy a kid's mind when they're that young. What are you trying to accomplish?
Absolutely nothing.
And don't call it a cultural institution. Is that your excuse to say, oh, it's part of the culture?
I don't think that'll happen, Sam, but I love the idea.
Atlanta fans should boycott the game and send them it. It's never going to happen. The tickets are already sold. People are going to go to the games. The Hawks are not a good team, so not that it really matters anyway.
They are in a play-in spot right now at 31-31 because the East is so bad.
But would you call this like a desperation promotion to get more butts?
Gotta be.
No pun intended, by the way.
Gotta be.
But I don't get it. Like, this is one of those wacky promotions. Like when a team is so bad, they just want to get people in seats.
The Indians with 10-cent beer night, for example.
Yeah, but that one is a like food and drink promotion.
But it still smells of and reeks of desperation.
True, and also promotes heavy drinking, which is not good either. Which, again, baseball games, a lot of kids go to. And you're promoting horrible behavior,
public intoxication, disorderly conduct.
And I just find it funny that they say, "Oh, well, it's a cultural institution, and we're gonna have lemon pepper wings." Yes, we know. We know that the strip club is known for the lemon pepper wings. We know Lou Williams made a stupid decision in the bubble. We got it. I know.
That would be like the Padres having Pacers night, where Tommy Pham got stabbed at a strip club during the COVID season in 2020. That's literally what we're getting at here.
This is like grasping at straws. Like how desperate they are to say, "All right, well, we'll get all the pervy adults who want to be in the arena because they're promoting the biggest strip club in Atlanta." Like, you're not gaining anything from doing that, you know.
No, they're not. And especially when players are speaking out about it, you got a problem on your hands.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what other places would be like that have weird places like this where it wouldn't make sense. Like if they showed up as a promotion.
I don't know. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights have showgirls show up for pregame warm-ups to distract the opposing team.
That sounds kind of stupid too. Not going to lie.
It is Vegas, though.
So I guess it makes sense culturally.
And
again,
it's only for the 18-minute long pregame warm-up, and that's it. They're not there during the course of the game.
That would be like in San Francisco if they promoted an Alcatraz night at the 49ers.
You know, I mean, the Super Bowl pregame was held on Alcatraz Island at one point this past
and that was
January.
awkward, right?
Yes.
But imagine if they said, "We're going to promote Alcatraz.
We're going to promote the San Quentin prison, which is where California's lethal injections are held, but only because Johnny Cash played a sold-out concert here back in 1965.
Yeah.
Well,
we're about 1 minute away. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we can get to one more thing, Nick, before we get to the interview, though. Zan being featured in SBJ. How about that?
Yeah, and him and I were talking about that story too, about how Dana White's become a little bit of a
bone broth.
Yes, if you want to see that comes out in about 2 hours from now. Yeah, I had a little fun making fun of Dana White. But yes, Zan got cited by SBJ. SBJ got some information wrong on this story too. About when the White House card is going to take place. By the way, the White House card is going to be terrible now because they can't get any of the big names on it.
And it feels like it keeps changing, but I know that they have it back on June 14th.
Oh, no, the date never changed, but they reported that it changed, and SBJ got it wrong. But, yeah, he did get credited.
How about that? That's cool, though.
It's not the first time he's been credited through some of the big platforms before.
I mean, when you're right, though, for like almost every online website, though, that feels like for sports, you're bound to get credited somewhere.
That's unfortunately the business. That's not even his fault. That's just the way the business is heading. Because writing, unfortunately, is on the decline path.
Yeah, and I think Zane will be having a benchmarks episode in the coming months about the death of the beat writer and the death of the writer because of where technology has gone and it's not really valued anymore like it used to be.
Unfortunately, now you see people using AIs to write articles. Like, I've heard stories where some people can write 15, 20 articles in a day through AI, unfortunately. In this
surprise,
space.
sadly.
All right. So coming up, Blake Bolden joins the show. ESPN and Amazon NHL analyst, does some work for the Kings too, with scouting. So we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, you will see that interview. And then we will come back and tie up the loose ends with some WNBA lockout talk and press clippings. So We'll be right back and enjoy the interview, but hang tight. We'll be right back.
We are back on Press Row on this Monday afternoon, March the 4th. We are privileged to be joined for the latter part of the next half an hour, roughly, by one of the best in the hockey business, Amazon Prime Video Monday nights, and ESPN's Breaking the Ice. The one, the only, Blake Bolden joins us here today. Blake, great to see you as always. Appreciate your work, and for more importantly, for you taking some time out of the Wednesday afternoon to join us here today. How's it going?
Oh, it's good. It's good to see your face. I miss your voice, but it's really good to see your face.
Yes.
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I agree. It's different not seeing you around the rink or even over
I
the summer when
know.
we're at Kit Carson, getting ready for Narch. So
Yep.
it's good to link up though beforehand here in early March as we come down the pipeline towards the end of the NHL regular season before we get to the best time of the year with the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes, I'm really excited for that. There's a lot. And then also trade deadlines coming up. So there's a lot of stuff happening. And if we think about my Kings, there's a lot of stuff happening there. I don't know if you want to talk about your Ducks, but like I feel like the world is just kind of on its head. It's just upside down. It's crazy. It's
The hockey,
exciting though.
it's very exciting, Blake, I'd say, with the NHL for where I think the league is right now. Now, yes, we have the Avalanche, we have the Stars who have been kind of pounding
I
the
love the
Western
Wild. We gotta love the Wild.
Minnesota, like the Central Division again has kind of been like a black and blue division. Yeah, I've long
Mm-hmm.
called it a black and blue division because you've got the three heavy hitters up there.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg obviously has kind of fallen off a little bit this season, not able to
Yeah.
recapture the magic of the President's Trophy season. The East kind
Yeah.
of feels like it's pretty wide open considering that everyone is so much, log jammed out there. I guess, Blake, we're probably, what would you probably say about the state of the NHL right now as we
Oh,
prepare though for the upcoming, you know, 84 game season? We've got all the new things kicking in next season, but this year though, I think the quality on the ice has been top notch from all
yeah.
30 or all 32 teams across the league.
Yeah, I think the quality has been really exciting. You know what team I also think is really exciting? You can throw in, apart from the Ducks, who are just super young, super talented, San Jose with Macklin Celebrini, Montreal has been doing, they're ebbing and flowing, but they're such an exciting team to watch. I feel like this year we're gonna get a Stanley Cup champion that is really not someone we thought. Like, could be Buffalo. Who the frick knows? It's crazy right now. I'm still banking on my Kings. We lost Kevin Fiala. That was so detrimental for us. Then we get the bread man. We were really excited about that. Then we get a coaching change. Like, it's crazy right now. And I just think that the rush to the Olympics, like Colorado was just on this rocket ship. And then what, like a week out before the Olympics, it was just like lost, 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 lost. And it's just like, what's going on right now? So I think anything could happen. Like I'm really excited to see how these teams shape up. And you just look at, the returns, dusting off the rust, even for me as a broadcaster, because I actually haven't been on air yet, but I'm really excited. I'm headed to Vancouver on Monday. I have PWHL on my birthday that week as well, calling a game with James Cybulski and then moderating a panel. So it's a crazy week. Life is crazy. Hockey is crazy. We don't know who's going to win the Stanley Cup. I hope it's going to be a young, exciting team. But you and I will be excited to figure out what happens.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I was just looking over the standings again. The Stars have won 10 straight. They've set a
Oh
new
yeah,
franchise record for
yeah.
wins in a season. Vegas is hanging on to the top spot in the Pacific by a mere point over Anaheim. Edmonton's a little bit rocky as well. And then you've got the logjam, though, Blake, of Utah, Seattle, the Sharks, LA, Nashville, all
Who's
within
gonna
striking
get that
distance out
wild
in the
card
West.
spot? Yeah,
For the
it's
wild
gonna be
card,
crazy.
I mean, this is going to be some really good hockey over the next 4 to 6 weeks. I can't wait.
For sure, for sure,
It's going to
for
be great.
sure.
But with that, of course, Blake, we mentioned, though, about the Olympics coming and going. It's a clean sweep for Team USA, of course, the miracle on ice with the, 46-year wait happening. With that, of course, we, of course, probably were more invested with the women's side of things and the utter domination that this team put on, though, over the course of their tournament. It boils down, though, to the gold medal game. It's a game-tying goal with 2:04 to play in regulation. After basically throwing everything at Anne Renee Desbiens, they finally get the tip in from Hillary Knight, and then it's Megan Keller scoring that goal, though. Blake, I mean, just how this team, though, came together. And I've long been of the belief, and I don't know if Tessa and Julia would like my commentary on this one, but it felt like, though, that there was something different about this USA roster with how they built it with, a lot of the college kids like Harvey, Layla Edwards, who we both know very well, and a lot of the younger infusion of players where I think that Canada, in a way, this might be off base, relying too much on the old guard, Sarah Nurse, MPP, you name it, all the, Laura Stacey, kind of in a way, perhaps, though. But how this USA team, Blake, simply dominated this whole entire tournament was something I don't think that we have seen probably in a long time from any women's hockey side, I'd say, on the Olympic stage. But overall takeaways, though, from Milan Cortina and how Team USA pulled out the gold medal.
Well, I will say that I was invested in both men and women because I was on vacation in French Polynesia and I got up at 3 a.m. to watch the men play in their gold medal game. That is
I was up
sleep
at 5 a.m. out
investing.
here to watch the game, yes.
But yeah, back to the women. I think that was one of the most dominant USA teams of all time. Like you said it, the youth that they had, the speed of which they played connected, they played free. I love that their game winning or their goal song was Free Bird because I just thought
Yes.
they were all just flying around the ice at 100 miles an hour, but with poise, with patience. I mean, Alex Carpenter, I was fortunate enough to play with Alex Carpenter at BC, especially on the power play. Like, she shredded that Olympics. Like, I am so happy that she basically fought back to earn her spot on the Olympic team, having gotten left off of it. So for her, I'm just so proud of her. All my BC girls. You're talking about Megan Keller. I jumped on the bed while I was on vacation when she scored that game-winning goal. I was like, "Oh my God, oh my gosh!" And then you mentioned Layla Edwards from Cleveland, Ohio, where I am from, is just it's just like a passing of the torch. I'm so excited. We have finally a Black woman representing the USA on that national team. She did it with such flair. She helped that what was it? That tied goal from Hillary Knight from the point, the shot. I mean, her shot was so lethal, and it was a bit of give and take too, because she was on the ice when Canada scored first. So I was like, Layla, we got to get this goal back, girl. We got to get this goal back. And Abby Murphy, I kid you not, I love watching Abby Murphy. She's just like a monster on the ice. I would hate to play against her, but if she was one of my teammates, oh my gosh, ride or die. And the one player I loved really watching was KK Harvey too. I mean, unbelievable defenseman. Her footwork, the way she could just like juke people on the blue line, her confidence, her edges, it was beautiful. So the coaching to me seemed very confident. It just was everybody go out and do their job. Just do your job and we'll be okay. I will say though that the final game against Canada did a really good job.
They did.
Because I was holding my stick a little tight in a lot of those moments, pretty much until 2 minutes left into the third period. Like I was not confident until Hillary Knight tied that goal. I was like, what
You and
is
me both.
going on?
I
And
mean,
attribute
because
that.
I'm sitting here like we're gonna have like the greatest run to the
It's gonna be
final,
like five
and this is
nothing
how it's gonna end
again.
on a
Yeah.
shorthanded goal.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh my goodness." And credit to Canada. I mean, that's why they had the players that they had. They had, a lot of seniority, a lot of experience, and even just the presence of a player like MPP. Doesn't matter if she's scoring goals or not. She's on the bench. She's on the ice. Like you feel that. I almost thought she was going to score in overtime. Like
Me too.
she came across that dot and I was like, "Oh man, she's doing the MPP overtime cut back. She's ready to release." And I was like, "Please, please, please, Frankel, you got this." So I think Canada did a really good job with the limiting speed, I would say, the offensive power in combating Team USA until they just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, which again it was, and I think what gets lost on the shuffle, Blake, is yes, Megan Keller scores the goal, the ankle breaking deke at the blue line. But I think a lot of people miss though the Taylor Heisey pass from the goal
Oh my
line
God.
with
Oh my
so much
God.
open space that gets it to Megan, who then makes
Yeah.
the move and then gets the puck in the net.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing a lot of PWHL games and Taylor Heisey, I remember she was snake bitten. She hadn't scored a goal in a really long time. And she scored this game-winning overtime goal, and it was just bar down, the most beautiful release I think I'd have seen in women's hockey. I was like, "Oh, I'm on air. I have to keep talking." Um, but her play, her vision to see Megan Keller, what, three zones up the ice, didn't dust it off, didn't take any time, realized everybody was changing. This is the moment. It's 3-on-3 hockey. Bad change, terrible change by Canada. I mean, they're definitely not watching the tape, but they are probably like kicking themselves. Like, why did we do that? You don't change unless you have possession in a 3-on-3. That's like numero uno. You don't do anything unless you have a possession in 3-on-3 hockey. And, you listen to clips that Megan Keller said, she was just like, well, I just booked it. Like I saw the opportunity, I took it. And Megan Keller is one of the most dynamic, offensive-minded defensemen, probably one of the best defensemen offensively that I've ever seen, especially coming from BC and knowing the, I guess, pedigree that BC has as far as Olympic defensive athletes. You think of like Emily Falzer and Kayla Barnes and, Megan Keller, if you even put myself in there because I was pretty offensive too. She's the best. And she just blacked out. She said when she got that puck, she said, "I don't know. I was just playing hockey at that moment." And I look over to my husband and he was like, "That's what you do when you're a kid on a pond and you're just playing and you're dreaming about scoring the game-winning goal, the gold medal game-winning goal." And she did it. And it was such a great finish.
That was such a great finish. And then obviously the men, of course, 46 years of waiting, Connor Hellebuck, phenomenal
Oh,
performance in that gold medal game. I mean,
yeah.
being able to take, and I even said, though, on one of our shows here on ETB, Blake, it felt for me the turning point in that game was when Canada gets that 5-on-3. I mean, me and my friend are literally pulling into the Disneyland parking structure on that given Sunday. And we're both
Yeah.
looking to like, well, here it comes,
Yeah.
because of how lethal McKinnon, Celebrini, McDavid being those three forwards on that power play. And they
Yeah.
don't allow, I think they allowed 2 shots in that 3.5 minutes of time that they had to kill on that 5-on-3. And then Jack Hughes, after getting the high stick to the face, losing his teeth, scores that, game-winning goal, beating, Jordan Bennington. I mean, what a moment, though, for USA Hockey, having both their teams, though, win the gold, though, in the same Olympic Games.
Yeah. I don't think you could have drawn anything up better than that. I think huge momentum shift, killing a 5-on-3 from probably the most powerfully offensive-minded Canadian national team of all time. Like
I think so.
Declan Celebrini was so good in that tournament. I mean, he got like 6, 7 shots a game. Like he was all over the place. And I was for sure thinking either Celebrini, McKinnon, like Crosby wasn't playing, unfortunately,
McDavid.
McDavid. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not ideal. But that just goes like to show the focus that Team USA had, the men. I think they just realized that they had to buckle down. I think there was a Johnny Gaudreau angel, maybe just added on there as a fifth man, just lifting up sticks and like blocking shots or something,
Yeah.
or like on Hellebuck's shoulder, like, you got this, dude.
I mean, I think so. I mean, all the funny memes that came out. McKinnon misses the wide open net, and there's like a photo of Johnny Gaudreau like poke checking a
In a
puck off of his
shadow.
stick, and it's a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
celebration, of course, and the media blitz
Yeah.
for both of the teams after it was all said and done. But I think though,
Sure.
Blake, the best part though about the women, at least about the women's victory. I mean, obviously both victories are great, but the rise though of the PWHL popularity, I'd say, in
Oh,
the week after, days like the
yeah.
couple days after the Olympics, I think I saw stats from Front Office Sports and SBJ, that merch sales had gone up. Ticket sales were through the roof, like
Everything
50%
booming.
increase, booming.
Yeah.
Viewership on TV or on YouTube had also shot through the roof. But of course, Blake, you come from the early foundation days, the NWHL, CWHL, winning the Isabel Cup in Buffalo back, about 2014, 2015. But also that this league, though, Blake, has, been shattering records this season. They've gone from, some college rinks or community rinks now. They're selling out NHL arenas across the
I
board.
know.
Perspective, though, has the on-ice depth of the league matured faster than the business side expected? But also, is the talent pool though ready maybe for even more expansion away from Seattle and Vancouver? Obviously, the Torrent just broke the record again, which it feels like in the last 6 years, Blake, that record has been broken. I got to meet you finally in person when US Canada came to Honda Center. I think that was like 13,008 something,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we went to Crypto for a game. Seattle had broken the record. Detroit had the record. Denver had the record. So it's been like a very nice passing of the torch that,
Yeah.
in a way, like in Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. No, I think you said it perfectly. And that was a really beautiful setup that the Ducks did at the Honda Center where we first met. That was such an exciting game. And I think that was just the tip of the iceberg for what we didn't know what was to come. And when I think about the importance of the Olympics and in all the players like Hillary Knight and Kendall and Schofield that have been playing for so long, and I mean that in the most respectful way, but they only got their chops, their kudos when we were watching them in the Olympics, and they'd go on Jimmy Fallon or whatever the show is, Good Morning America, and that was it. It was like a blip, and then it was over. And to see that YouTube viewing for the PWHL went from what 2,000, maybe even 5,000 to like 25 plus thousand in, like you said, a week, sales going up, that's 17,000, record-breaking viewership in attendance for the Seattle Torrent. I mean, that was really cool to see. And Hillary Knight wasn't even playing.
She played the whole Olympic for the Torn MCL. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
hockey player to a T, baby.
can you I don't know. I've never had surgery. I've really never been injured that much, but a torn MCL.
And
And she's
playing that
scoring
many
the
games,
game-tying
though, on
goal.
that. And
Oh
scored the
my God.
game-tying
And then
goal.
breaks the all-time scoring record for USA Hockey. Like,
Yeah, we
come
forgot about that.
on.
Exactly. I mean, it's as I said, it was absolute cinema. It was
It was
absolute
absolute
cinema.
cinema. But back to your point about the growth of the sport. I have been to Edmonton. I'm going back to Edmonton for takeover tours. There's been takeover tours in Quebec. Like, there's been takeover tours everywhere, and the showing has been amazing. People are like, "We want a team in Cleveland. We want a team here." I mean,
I
the
was going to say, what
fandom
about DC? I think they had 17,000 plus at
in
Capital One
DC.
Arena.
Yeah, and I didn't know DC rose up like that. I was like, okay, DC, that's amazing.
I think
Hey,
a
let's
lot
grow.
of it, and I think a lot of that, though, in a way, a very nice little tie-in. If they have successful other women's franchises, again, Seattle's got the Storm, the Rain, and the
100%.
Torrent. San
WNBA,
Diego. Us in San Diego having
soccer.
the Wave, exactly. And the
Yeah,
Spirit, of course, in DC have drawn so well because of Trinity Rodman. So I think a lot of that also helps out. Helps out too.
1000%. And maybe that's a marketing strategy. I don't know. That makes a lot of sense. You see now Hillary Knight's going to Unrivaled basketball games. Like, it's a really good crossover, and it really supports. And I think, women's former professional players are investing, right? Actresses are investing. Serena Williams, like I feel like the sky is the limit. Now, do I think that growing to 4 teams is maybe the best idea? That might be a lot. I think 4 teams would be a lot. 2 teams might be a little more doable, but you also think about the draft class that we have coming up this year with Layla Edwards and Abby Murphy and KK Harvey. Like those are the top 3, man. Like they can go to any expansion team and the fans are just coming, which is really exciting. So I think 2 would be great. LA, I would love, but that's probably not going to happen. The travel would be miserable. I already talked to the girls about traveling from Vancouver and Seattle, and it's really hard. A
I
lot of the
bet.
times they're gone for like the whole month. They go to the East Coast, they play all the teams, and they're coming back. I mean, it's wild. So to kind of break that up would probably be the best bet. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe a Chicago, maybe a Detroit. But I feel like it's got to be like one Canada, one US again.
Yeah, or probably, like one West, one East, maybe for the next
Yeah.
couple seasons.
Yeah. Or maybe even like in the middle so you can kind of hop. So that's my thought. I don't know. I'm not on the
I
inside.
mean, we
I'm
were
not in
throwing out.
charge.
I mean, we were throwing out like, San Diego, Anaheim, maybe Long Beach or
Yeah, come
LA.
to us. We'll be a
Come on,
part of
I'm
your
planning on
management
like
team.
hiring Blake to become like part of my ownership group if this ever happens.
Ownership, GM. It's all
Ownership,
good.
GM. I'm already
It's
working on
whatever you
branding
need.
for uniforms and team names. Like, come on now.
Oh
Like literally
yeah.
and
What
figuratively.
what would your what would your name be?
Oh,
San Diego. My husband Miles, he said San Diego Sandstorm. And it was
oh,
like
interesting.
this tornado of this woman with a hockey stick and her hair was like the sand. Chat GPT can do a lot.
Oh, believe
And the
me,
logo was
I've been.
sick. I'll have to send it to you. I was like, ooh,
Well, I mean,
okay.
you being an OG of the NWHL will probably appreciate the San Diego Riveteers because of the World War II
Ooh.
efforts out here back in the day.
Oh, the Riveteers. Oh yeah, yeah, see, you're a San Diego like native. Like you know what would be best for
I
sure.
mean, I was playing around. I mean, I came up with, I think my top 4 was Aces would be a little bit tough because of the success of the Vegas Aces, but that's for the fighter pilots of Miramar, obviously.
Oh,
Squadron, Riveteers kept being
yeah,
that one kept like screaming at me like this needs to be the
yeah.
team. This needs to be the team.
SEALs, like Navy SEALs, but like it's good. Like I feel like you're going more towards like militant.
Agreed.
I mean, we got the largest Navy base
I
ever,
know
so
we do, and but something about Riveteers, like the name obviously coming from the NWHL era in, I believe, in
yeah.
New York, New Jersey. I want to say back
Homage.
in the day.
Yeah. I hated playing the Riveters. Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
that
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 gutsy
name that
grinder
name though,
team.
like I think would really fit the marketplace down in
Yeah,
San Diego.
for
That's like
sure.
5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road. Hopefully,
Hey,
hope
you don't know
hope
that.
hopefully it's sooner.
You don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully it's sooner. But I guess like to stay with the PWHL for next season. Obviously, I kind of in a way, and I'm sure you might be the same way, but I kind of look though to see, is there a takeover tour going to LA or Anaheim or even to Vegas, even of course with that,
Yeah,
with how those
Vegas
have
would
been
be
so
fun.
successful. But
Yeah.
looking at next season though, what is the business of hockey move that you want to see the league make though to ensure that this isn't a mere honeymoon phase, but a permanent profitable shift though for the women's sports landscape? Because right now this league it feels like right now, Blake, this league can do no wrong right now at this rate, which I absolutely love to see.
Yeah, I think that I think the move that would probably be smart is to have incentives in ownership because right now it's all like a collective. So it's like if you're an owner, if you own all the teams, it's great. Like doesn't matter who wins. But if you had different investors that were keyed in on their particular team, that were 100% buy-in on the success and had that incentive and that pride from popular people, maybe a Serena Williams, I don't know. But I think that would be smart to just kind of
Two people have already
expand
come to
that
two
way.
people have already come to mind for me.
Ooh,
Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe for Seattle.
Right. That's a great connection. It's a great connection. Just like keep it tight. Like keep the weave and the interwovenness of both sports and celebrity and just and grow in that. So it's impossible to not be visible and to be marketed. Because I mean, they're crushing it. I'm not a business major. I don't have a master's. I tried the GMAT, too much for my brain. But I mean, the viewership has gone up. I think you keep riding this Olympic high right now and push that as far as you can. Like Hillary Knight, if this is her last season, like I'm curious to see what she's gonna do. Like Hillary, what are you gonna do? What do you want to own? Because you could do whatever you want. You want to be a GM? You want to go back to television? You want to be owner? I'm very curious to see what Hillary does.
Yeah, and I think a lot of maybe even Kendall Coyne could be in that conversation. I know that
100%.
she's got her cushy day job with the Blackhawks still, I think, which is very nice in player development. I mean, for those who
Yeah.
don't know, Blake also has been a scout for the LA Kings for the last several seasons as well. So away from
Yeah.
PWHL, she's traveled all across the AHL Pacific Division. So she's come here, or she lives in San Diego as I do, but she's gone to Palm Springs and Abbotsford and Henderson and all over the place. Colorado. Am I missing anywhere? Tucson, San Jose, Stockton,
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, all over the place.
Love it. Vancouver. Yeah.
Yes, Vancouver, all over the place.
Yeah.
But of course, Blake, I think more people probably know better with yourself, though, regarding television. And obviously, Amazon Prime Video has now got the Monday Night Hockey package mainly for games in Canada. And of course, Amazon's probably, I think a lot of people know, very data-driven. Blake, from your perspective, though, working for both, mainly for Amazon, though, how does the Amazon tech-first environment, in a way, maybe change the way that you might analyze a game compared to maybe if you're working on ESPN, for example, for a late-night game with Roxy on the West Coast?
Ooh, that's good. I mean, our resources are crazy with Amazon. I mean, and collectively are crazy. Even just thinking about watching hockey on a streaming platform like Amazon, I think that was actually one of the hardest things for some people to wrap their minds around is how do I even freaking watch this game? And it's like, well, do you have Prime? Because everybody has Prime. It's like, just open up Prime and it's there. And so I think I think it's really cool because Amazon's just at the forefront of that. They're just pushing technology. And as an analyst, we have so many people on board supporting us. I mean, you think about when we go into our what do you want to call it, like preseason meeting of all of the data points and just the viewership and all of these metrics that we get to see as far as how we're improving. Do people like this? Do people like the storytelling? Do people, like what do people like? And we even added in like this thing called Miller Time. It's actually called All Access, where people get like an all access view before the game even happens, going into the locker room, watching the fans. We kind of do a pregame show and we just get the feel of the rink because when you're watching from television, you don't feel it. You don't
Right.
feel it. So I think that's the biggest thing that Amazon is doing is bringing the feeling of actually being live and bringing that to you while you're watching it on your couch or wherever you're watching it on your phone or tablet or something like that. So for me, I mean, we have Apple as a sponsor. Like I've got my iPad with all of these different metrics, and I'm an old school person. I like pen and paper, so I don't use it that much, but we
Too
have all
many
the resources.
numbers. Believe me, the edge data is good, but if you don't know how to read analytics, then you're kind of
Yeah,
screwed.
well, as a scout, I mean, edge data is amazing. I mean,
Game changer.
skating speed, shot velocity, pass distance. I mean, it's all there, and it's really cool. Even if we just want to like put a marker on Hughes, right? On Quinn Hughes. How many miles has he skated in this game? And that is just a perspective that you can have and understand. Holy cow, this is why Quinn Hughes logs 30 plus minutes a game, is because he's skating like 20 miles a game. And he doesn't look tired in any of them.
No, I mean none of them do. Like it's flawless half the time with how it is. But I think though, Blake, with between Prime and between ESPN, do you perhaps from your perspective find that the streaming audience on Prime is looking for a different kind of hockey story than maybe someone watching on cable? Because as you said, though, you got so many, so many tools at your disposal to use on Prime, whether it's, telestrators, the advanced data, the metrics, the
Sure.
analytics, though. So maybe more, do you have like maybe more that you can provide, though, about perhaps what the audience might look for on Prime as opposed to, again, a regular broadcast on ESPN or ESPN Plus?
Well, for one thing, I just know the audience is younger with Amazon Prime. And because we're in a Canadian market, like you can't fool a Canadian fan if you wanted to. They are cutthroat. So I think our average age for Amazon, and we'd like it to get a little bit older because the older folks like their cable. They like their cable. They like just turning on the TV and it's just right there. So yeah, it's just a different feel. It's a lot more flashy, I think, it can be with Amazon, but we have an amazing team. We have an amazing producer in Askin, Mark Askin, who's been doing it for a really long time. He's done it with Sportsnet. He's been doing it for 40 years, but he's evolved and knows when and how to tell stories, and also like our cameras. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at like the vantage points that we get and where we put cameras around the arena. Like our
Way
cameras
different than a
are
regular cable broadcast.
right. Like I don't even really know how to explain it because I'm not a virtual tech person, but we'll have a shot and you're just like you're watching the replay and you're like, how do we how do we get there? You know? And it's so quick and tight. So it's just different. I don't want to say that one is better than the other because people have their preferences, but that's one thing that I have noticed with Amazon is there's no stone that's unturned. Like everything is just detailed in what they want to show to the fans.
Blake Bolden from Amazon Prime Video and from ESPN for the NHL joining us here on Press Row this afternoon. Blake, staying with the media real quick before we get to a few more topics here before we let you go for the day. Obviously, the other big thing that myself and Nick Morgasen, my co-host, have talked about a lot on our show from the business and media perspective is the fall right now of the regional sports networks, which includes FanDuel Sports Network West and SoCal. And I know that I think you've done a bit of work for the Kings on local TV. How in a way, though, is it for you to go from doing a national game on Prime or ESPN to then having to kind of get your mindset to I'm doing local TV on FanDuel Sports for the Kings from crypto or on the road somewhere if you happen to travel?
That's a good question. I mean, I actually get more nervous doing Kings games than I do for Amazon games because I know that so many people I know are watching. Like for Amazon, I'm like, oh, who knows who's watching? It's only in Canada. So it's like when I do a Kings game, I'm like, okay, my supervisor's watching, Luke Rubicai will find out. Like everybody's gonna know if I did horribly or did really well. So um, it's actually a very interesting feeling, but I've only done Kings games for FanDuel, and the Kings have been my home and my family since 2019. And I could not be more grateful, but it is kind of scary to think about where we'll be, like what's happening, the landscape is changing so fast, and you hear about bankruptcies and you hear about the switching and the changing of hands. And I know you guys have Victory Plus, and that
Victory
seems to be
Plus for the
going really
Ducks.
well with the Ducks. So yeah, I try not to think about those things too much because if I think about the what ifs, and I get really stressed and I develop an eye twitch in my right eye, so I get over that. But I enjoy it. I am thoroughly in the mindset of I'm still a newbie. And if I can get on camera with whoever, regional, national, which I don't even know how I'm on national, sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm sitting next to Mark Messier or Chris Pronger or Shane Knighty, and I'm like, what is my life?
PK
What
Subban.
is PK Subban? Like, what is my life right now? So it's a privilege, and in any shape, form, or fashion that I get to be in front of the camera and also be be a role model for people that don't really see people like me on TV. So it's great.
Well, thank you for the beautiful cross-ice pass to one time it in for the next question because, Blake, you live by the motto of if you can see it, you can be it. While we have seen more women, especially I think too with women of color now getting more involved with either the booth or on the ice, but some levels are still not quite there yet. A team GM or the C-suite. What is the biggest structural hurdle currently stopping women of color from getting the keys to getting into the driver's seat for a, bigger role in the front office across the entire NHL?
Well, I will say I don't know the owner's name, but I do think there's a black owner with the Washington Capitals. We'd have to double check that. Um, but as far as like management, assistant GM, GM, any sort of hockey ops position, I just think black people are trying to figure out how to play hockey. Like, there's only 3% players in the NHL. So I think it's just a matter of visibility and awareness and safety. I remember the first time I met Luc Robitaille in that tunnel in 2019 in November, and I was with Black Girl Hockey Club. I had no idea. It was my first Kings game ever, and it just shocked me how open he was, how he knew about women's pro hockey, and just asking me, "Hey, have you ever thought about being a scout?" And that's how it works in hockey ops. It's like we have a position open. I have a former teammate that I played on with at whatever Bowling Green or whatever college or, junior team. Call up my buddy, we fill in this spot, and that's how it works. At least that's how I think it works in scouting for the most part. And that's just how it is. So I just think that people that are qualified for the job just being more visible and having access to the opportunities that have holes and can fill those gaps. And I don't know how you do that. Have like a database, an HR database of all different types of people that you kind of like skim through. But I was so lucky and fortunate that I met Luc Robitaille at that moment that I did, because if I hadn't, there'd be zero chance that I would have been able to be a pro scout for 4 seasons with the LA Kings.
And I think, Blake, the other major thing, and I think that the Kings do a great job with this, I think the Ducks do a great job with this, is the initiatives, though, to get more girls and more women to play the game at some
Yeah.
kind of a level, whether it's, just, with friends on the side or even playing competitively for the LA Lions or the Lady Ducks, or even here in San Diego for the Junior Gulls. Blake,
Yeah.
what do you think, though, does the future hold, though, for trying to grow the game? Because I've written Substacks about this. I did a audio form podcast about the challenges that we as warm weather markets like San Diego, Anaheim, and LA do face when it comes to ice hockey being a thing
Yeah.
in our communities, as we know from where we live in town here. But
Yeah.
where, though, do you think that women's and girls hockey can go, though, with, investment? Is it, certain things with, better ice time, more rinks being built, maybe even across these communities, though? But what, though, would help, though, in a marketplace like SoCal, for example, or down in Texas or Vegas or Florida, that can really help further push girls and women's hockey? Is it more NHL teams getting involved, as the Kings and Ducks have done so for a long time? Or, where probably is your starting point for that?
Man, that's such a loaded question. I am on the advisory board for the LA Lions, and we meet every once in a while and talk about the growth of the teams, the AA teams, the A teams, B teams, AAA, and it kind of seems to stop at 16 AAA here in Southern California. And I experienced it too in Ohio, where I was forced to leave. I think the biggest gap we need to fix, especially if we're talking about in California, is figuring out how to keep players here. Like figuring out how to keep Adam's Pet Petrie here, right? Like figuring out how to keep, if I was in this situation in LA. Because when they leave, it's like, okay, well, do they come back? No. Do they come back and coach? Are they around the systems? Are they around the NHL teams to get the jobs, to move up in the ranks, to be in hockey ops? It's like,
Right.
just, I think that is because I think the youth hockey is there. I think people want to play hockey. Hockey is one of the fastest growing sports in the country, at least in America. So I don't think it's a lack of people wanting to play hockey. I think it's providing the opportunities for people to be able to play at a high level where they're from. And that is better coaching. Like, there's some dads out there that maybe shouldn't be coaching, but maybe you had someone who played Division 1 or Division 3 hockey that came back and is a woman that can coach a 16U AAA team. That would inspire that generation to say, hey, you don't have to leave, you could stay here. So I don't know what that looks like. And we talk about it all the time. And we had to drop a 14U team because there just weren't enough people that were still here, because everyone believes, and all the parents and the Tiger moms and dads are like, you're going to go D1, so you need to leave and go to this hockey academy and do all of these things. And then it's like, yo, you need to stay and play as many sports as you can and get a wide cast of experiences and characteristic development and all that stuff. Like, don't leave. So we
Please
just need
don't
to
leave.
put chains on people and keep them here.
I
No,
think
but
that's
we
a
gotta
good
figure it
starting
out.
point. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great
you
starting
know,
point. I think so. Blake, before I
maybe
let
have
you
a
go real
college
quick,
hockey team here, like
I know something. I don't
something.
know. Something. Maybe it's
I don't
Narch
know.
this summer when we're up in Irvine.
Listen, let's go. Roller baby. I only play roller now, so I'm totally down.
Hey, she's one of us. Let's go.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, last summer was great, and this summer's going to be great, though, too. Um, actually, Blake, before I let you go, I think, recall meeting you a little bit in passing February, I want to say, of 20, away from when we met at Honda Center, but also when what was then Fox Sports San Diego and Prime Ticket had hosted SoCal Hockey Day. We had the Rain and Gulls play at 4, then the Ducks and Kings played at 7. You
Yeah.
were featured, though, on Ducks Weekly with this gentleman right here, this bobblehead named Willie O'Ree, because you guys
Yeah,
got to
let's
do a very,
go.
very, very, very awesome interview, though, about, both of you guys coming up, though. Obviously, a lot of the stigmas around Black players in the game, as Willie had pointed out, though, when he was playing with Boston or coming up through the ranks. Blake, what did it mean, though, for you to meet, obviously a hockey icon, a Black hockey icon, San Diego hockey icon, though, that particular afternoon?
Willie O'Ree, there's a saying where you don't want to meet your heroes, but Willie O'Ree is a really good hero to meet. He is down to earth. He is funny. He will tell you like it is. He doesn't victimize himself. He is so inspirational. I mean, the man played half blind. Like, you just listen to his story and you're just like, how can I be in your orbit? How can I learn from you? How can I absorb your information? And yeah, I mean, that was a pinch me moment because I did a lot. I've done a lot with Willie. I mean, we've dropped pucks before. We've taken face-offs before. We've given panels before. We did that interview and it was really fun. And he works so hard. He never complains. He's in his late 80s and he is still inspiring so many young players to believe that they can overcome any obstacle that comes their way. If someone tells them they're not welcome, not good enough, not worthy, I mean, he is that guy. So for me to be a part of that and just be with him was really special.
Yeah, Willie still comes to a majority of the games. Obviously, his numbers in the rafters at Pechanga Arena. I also love, Blake, seeing people that still wear Willie O'Ree jerseys around the games whenever I'm out and about on the concourse during, before the game or at intermission. Like, this man's spirit is going to be here forever. And,
Mhm.
I think though, with Willie, yourself, and everyone who has been, paving the way for future generations of minority players, minority broadcasters to be able to, be welcomed into the hockey family and community, of course, has been very, very awesome. Blake, before I let you go, where can people find you on social media? More importantly, where can people find you on their television or on their streaming platforms on Amazon Prime on Monday nights?
Oh man, I get such secondhand embarrassment being like, watch me on Prime. But if you have a VPN and you're in the States and can watch it and have Amazon Prime, you can watch that. But if you're Canadian, you can just click on your Amazon Prime every Monday. I'll be there. And then if it's a PWHL game, it's free on YouTube. And if I'm not there, watch it anyway.
Please.
Exactly. Free on YouTube. And then my Sport Blake is my social handle for X and Instagram. And you can just type in my name and I'll pop up. I'm probably golfing on there. I'm on the ice, shooting with Macklin Celebrini or something like that. Taking face-offs with Sidney Crosby this year.
The Crosby video is my favorite.
I love it. It's probably one of the highlights of my life, and my biggest Super Bowls in the time of my life is to be able to be on the ice with those NHL players and for them to look at me like, who are you?
I've never heard of you. Now,
Where do you come from?
You're going to learn today who Blake Bolden is, people. Well, Blake, thank you so much for the time, and I'll probably see you around one of the rinks in town within the next, I'm sure, a few days, if not few months.
Yeah, we're recruiting. It's recruiting for Narch right now. An exhausting time.
Yeah, it's exhausting, but it'll be worth it when July rolls around.
100%. I'll see you soon, buddy.
See you, Blake. Thanks again for your time. All right, gang, welcome back here to Press Pro as we get ready to wind down and wrap up on this Wednesday edition of the program. Nick Morgasen back alongside Callan McClurg here. Before we actually talk more about Blake's interview and get to one final story before we get to press clippings, we do, though, have massive breaking news, though, from college football. And I believe, Nick, that is the unfortunate announcement of the passing of Lou Holtz.
Yes, so we actually have that right here. There's an official statement from the Fighting Irish account, which is obviously the Notre Dame account. This is from the family of Lou Holtz. Louis Leo Lou Holtz, legendary college football coach, Hall of Famer, best-selling author, and one of America's most influential motivational voices, has passed away at the age of 89 in Orlando, Florida, surrounded by family. Born January 6, 1937 in Fallen Bee, West Virginia, Holtz rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most respected figures in college athletics. Over a remarkable 5-decade career, he led college programs at William & Mary, NC State, Arkansas, Minnesota, Notre Dame, and South Carolina. He transformed every team he inherited and captured the 1988 national championship with the Fighting Irish. Holtz was preceded in death by his beloved wife of more than 50 years, Beth, with whom he shared a life grounded in faith, devotion, and service. Holtz is remembered for his enduring values of faith, family, service, and unwavering belief in the potential of others. His influence extended far beyond the football field through the Holtz Charitable Foundation and the many players, colleagues, and communities shaped by his leadership. He is survived by his 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Funeral arrangements, including a mass of Christian burial, will be at a date later finalized.
Unfortunate to hear that news out of the interview with Blake Bolden. Obviously, Lou Holtz, Nick, college game day, college analyst, I should say, for a long time on ESPN. Obviously, we knew that Lou was kind of not really still up to snuff, though, the last couple of years, though, but was still making appearances sporadically, whether it was, for PSAs about certain things or, what have you. And college football has lost a giant today, sadly.
By the way, and I need to say one thing from a journalistic standpoint, because this rumor was out there for months. If you remember, it kept getting rumored. If you don't know the news, don't report it, please. Because we see this all the time where people get killed when they're not dead. And now that we officially have it from a credible source, we can say it's officially a sad day in the college football world.
And certainly for those of you who are fans of Notre Dame athletics.
Actually, Johnny Montalbano, our NFL host and our MTGP host, is a Notre Dame fan. So, yeah, unfortunate news out of college football. Legend lost today.
Absolutely. Big time loss for not just college football, Nick, but I think all of college sports as a whole, though, with Lou Holtz's unfortunate death today.
Yeah. By the way, great interview right there. She's funny. She's funny. She's got personality. I don't know why she feels like she's kind of putting down slightly of what she does on TV. I think she's really good at it.
Yeah, I even told Nick before the show, I mean, if you get her and I to sit down together, we could be yapping for hours on end like you saw today.
I think she's got great personality for TV. I mean, I found it interesting, by the way, that she said the local games are more nerve-wracking than the games on Amazon in Canada.
I mean, I can kind of understand it from that vantage point when you're in the front office and you're asked to do a game for the Kings. And like you said, you've got Luke Robitaille watching, whose numbers in the rafters at crypto for the Kings. You've got your boss watching, supervisors are watching, other scouts are watching. Like you've got like you're underneath the giant microscope when you're covering your team. But if you're working for ESPN or for Prime and you're not working the King, and the Kings aren't a part of your game, it's totally fine.
No, I get that, but I would say a national platform is much harder than a local platform. That's just me, but I she's a good talker. She knows her game, that's for sure. You can tell she's a scout because she understands her stats and how to cover the game. And interesting listening to her talk about the PWHL and the growth. So a lot there. A lot of good
stuff.
That interview will be up at some point, probably either tomorrow or separately if you want to watch that separately. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, great stuff from Blake, and I'm sure that we'll do this again at Narch up in Irvine in July. We'll see what happens.
Sure, I'm down. I'd like to be part of it next time.
Yeah, we'll see where we go from there. All right, Nick, we are kind of against the clock here. We will, though, get to the biggest story, though, involving the WNBA, though, Nick. That is the massive news, though, of a joint letter signed off by both LA Sparks guard Kelsey Plum and New York Liberty forward Breanna Stewart, who sent a formal letter to the WNBPA regarding the ongoing state of affairs with CBA negotiations. As again, the deadline is now 6 days away from a potential strike of the season. Sources close by suggest that both Plum and Stewart are demanding a more aggressive stance, though, when it comes to how the WNBPA has been going forward with this. Nick, is the letter, though, from Plum and Stewart a warning shot to the Players Association and their upper leadership that the league's top stars are ready to take a far more aggressive stance against the owners and against Kathy Engelbert?
Again, here's the tough thing about this. You and I talked about this at the very beginning when the lockout was on the table. Stewie should not be allowed to cross both sides of this line.
For those who don't know that she's a co-founder of Unrivaled and serving as one of the lead VPs of the WNBA Players Association.
So that's not sticking well with me in some regards, where you're calling out your own players union. You're a co-owner of Unrivaled, which is a competitor to the W, but now you're calling out your own players union because you don't like what's going on. Then you're the VP. You're calling out yourself.
Pretty much like you're playing yourself.
And it says here in the private communication, which was obtained Tuesday by ESPN, Plum, the first vice president of the union, and Stewart, a vice president, requested, quote, a change dynamic between our PA administrators and the players, and said, we do not feel like we have an adequate seat at the table in these negotiations. I'm sorry, what?
Damn.
You're freaking VP. What? The Players Association. What do you mean you don't have an adequate seat at the table? I'm sorry. Just call a strike now. Just please.
Please. It would save us all. It would all do us a favor.
On strike. We're going on strike. I still don't know what strike means, but we're going on a strike.
if she doesn't have a seat at the table, all the fans are screwed.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, folks, that excuse me, that deadline right now is 6 days away, Nick.
I mean,
Next Tuesday.
So it says here that the union held a call with its players Tuesday evening, so yesterday, according to sources, to address the issues raised by Stewart and Plum, as well as the results of a Players Association survey, which is trending all over social media right now. Polling players on their thoughts toward the league's latest CBA proposal. The union declined to comment when reached by ESPN. Jackson, who is the head of the association, shared the letter with the executive committee earlier Tuesday. It is unclear whether the rest of the 7-player executive committee agrees with Plum and Stewart's sentiments on the WNBPA leadership, or whether they are informed before the letter was sent. Sources have indicated that some members are content with the union's handling of negotiations. Okay, we're not on the same page. We are definitely not on the same page.
It sounds like you've got a pocket of players doing their own thing and a pocket of players doing their own thing, and no one is on the same page here. And there's 6 days to go before the clock runs out.
The letter starts with Plum and Stewart expressing immense gratitude for Jackson's leadership of the Players Association over the past decade, and the results she has garnered that in that span, adding that they believe she wants the best for the players. But then it goes on in a quote to say, but we are frustrated that we have not made more progress as we near the March 10th deadline. Stewart and Plum continue, and we believe this is a result of a breakdown in communication between you and the executive committee and players more broadly. Oh, come on, man. You're going to call out your own association?
Well, I mean, Nick, let's not forget, though, too, before we move on here to close out the afternoon, the fact that Kelsey Plum called out Caitlin Clarkson for not showing up for the meeting at the All-Star game in Indianapolis.
That's a player's issue, not the association's issue. Right?
Even then, though, it's the second time that we know on record that players have called out players for not helping the cause.
It does say here, but Stewart and Plum say they've been privy to details of these negotiations for less than 2 months, having first seen a proposal in January, and that they've repeatedly asked for information from PA staff but have yet to receive it. Something's not adding up.
This is nightmare fuel.
It says, despite a year and a half of negotiations, we have not been meaningfully engaged. That sounds like an player's problem, not a
why all of a sudden would it be a player's problem if the owners are just so hell-bent on not showing up to the table? As we talked about, Nick, when that first face-to-face meeting, the league and owners had nothing that they brought to the table, literally and figuratively.
There's so going to be a strike.
4 days, my friend. I hope you're ready.
Because there's fighting going on internally at the WNBPA.
So now it's becoming a full-fledged civil war.
I do think it was a bad move by Stewie and Plum to write a letter to the head of the PA saying, oh, well, we like what you're doing, but it's not good enough right now. How does that make any sense?
Next Tuesday is going to be interesting.
Day before our show, too.
So for Blake Bolden's birthday, she gets a WNBA strike probably next Tuesday.
I just don't understand. Like, all these different things. Now you're calling out your own association internally.
Oof. Bad look, sadly.
Plum told reporters that while the union should continue to negotiate on a new CBA, she believes the offer the WNBPA has received from the WNBA so far reflects a significant win with its revenue sharing component. Bull crap. I don't believe that for a second. 15% of revenue? That's not a win. They want 50. Didn't they?
Yep.
Actually, they really want 30. But they're not the WNBAs are going, nah, we're not giving you 30%. You're not worth that. Like, I just don't. I'm waiting for that dreaded day on Tuesday.
If it ever comes, my goodness gracious.
Watch. Are they going to say, oh, well, we can't do extensions anymore because it's not a lockout? Well, no, we're just going to extend it another month, which actually they can't do because
no, if they do that, they're really screwed if that happens.
Well, April 13th was the first of the new drafts, I think.
Yes, for Toronto and Portland.
even let's say even that they agree to a deal on March 10th, which I'm going to say, if I was a betting man, I would, which I can be at times, but I would say if I'm a betting man in this situation, I would say no. Then I don't think they would have made it to those drafts anyway.
Agreed.
Because all the legalese that's involved.
Right.
This is ugly. This is a bad situation. And now you're feuding with your own lead of the Players Association. And I think it's a conflict of interest for Breanna Stewart to be saying, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing, but I'm also the co-founder of this league over here, which is trying to kick the WNBA's ass."
Who just sold out Barclays Center on Tuesday night for the semifinals.
Which I'm glad you remember, because I was going to say that and I forgot. What was it, like 18,000 plus?
Yeah.
I think. Which, by the way, that's pretty good. You know what? Kathy, you got to speak up here, which we all know is not going to happen. Or she's going to.
Here's a live look at Nick and Callan come Tuesday.
Climbing the mountain to the strike. Oh, Dad. There it is. Well, they are broken. All right, moving on here. Let's get to press clippings quickly. Jeff Passan signs a multi-year extension at ESPN. That includes a new baseball podcast produced by Omaha Productions. Really not surprised. What I was a little surprised with baseball having less games, but I think he's just an ESPN staple. He fits in there. He's got good reputation there. It's interesting that they're starting a new podcast considering baseball is going down on the number of games, not up.
And the fact that ESPN almost basically lost MLB rights practically to NBC, and that they're reduced to like 30 weekday games, I want to say. And Passan is still like their lead insider away with Jesse Rogers is another good insider though, but big deal.
You know what it is? I think because the insider business is so big that they're willing to make the move. But I'll tell you right now, if there was no MLB games, there's no possible way he could have stayed here. Right?
I agree.
He needs to be in a place where there is games that they have rights to. Otherwise, that would be stupid to be an insider for a place that has no games on the networks.
Yeah, where ESPN has literally treated baseball like an afterthought for the last 10 years, if not longer.
If ESPN lost, I could have seen him going to NBC.
I think it wouldn't surprise me if he does eventually, to be very frank.
What would he do there, though, besides the games? Like, ESPN is built out as a full network where he writes, and I mean, I guess I'm trying to think what sites. NBC doesn't really have sites that he would write for.
No. Pro baseball, if they start like hardball talk or pro baseball talk, like what Florio's done. Your boy.
Or they could do like what Yahoo did with Ariel Helwani with Uncrowned.
There you go.
Which maybe they make a partnership, but
who knows?
It probably was the best spot for him.
Nick, the Cleveland Browns ownership, led by the Haslam family, is now in serious negotiations for a NWSL expansion franchise to play in Columbus, probably at what is now being called Scott's Miracle-Gro Stadium in Columbus, Ohio.
That's terrible. That's like
on crack.
Oh God.
Well, it must have been on something to think of that name.
I mean, it went from Lower.com Field to Scott's Miracle-Gro Stadium, which Scott's, by the way, is based in nearby Marysville, Ohio.
No, I get that, but that's bad.
I mean, the Haslams, though, were in talks to get an expansion franchise. They were, I think, on the cusp of getting it before they got outbid by Denver and Boston.
The Haslams should not be allowed to touch any franchise at all. They destroyed the Browns, and now they're going to destroy this franchise next.
If it even gets off the ground and running, Nick. Just Women's Sports is expanding their original soccer programming by launching a new weekly podcast called Time Wasting, led by two-time World Cup champion Kelly O'Hara and former longtime Angel City captain Allie Riley as a part of Just Women's as a part of the Just Women's Sports podcast portfolio. It will premiere next Tuesday, Nick, when the WNBA goes on strike.
We're going on a strike. We're going on a strike.
Wait, what?
On strike. We're going on strike. I still don't know what strike means, but we're going on a strike.
God. I mean, it's good. I'm not opposed to it.
No, I mean, Kelly O'Hara has been a very great podcast host since she retired from playing with the national team for the last several years on JWS.
I don't know Allie Riley that well, but I know Kelly O'Hara. I've heard that name. I've heard her name forever.
Yeah, she's been a great host on Just Women's Sports for soccer, and not just that, even for sports in general on that platform. She's been great.
And final story: the blackout burden. A new report shows 40% of MLB fans are regularly impacted by local blackouts.
I mean, they make it so damn hard to watch games now. It's pathetic.
I mean, you need all these platforms. You need all these digital platforms. And now you're going to have MLB.TV as part of ESPN.
And you still can't watch your team play.
Well, you can slightly, somewhat.
I mean, I can't because the games are on cable.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're on that ridiculously long channel name with the sponsor on it.
Padres.tv, brought to you by UC San Diego Health.
Do they really have to say it that way every single time?
Thankfully, they don't, but yes.
Can you imagine if you literally had to say that every single time, like on a sign-off or going to break?
This is Padres Baseball on Padres.tv, brought to you by UC San Diego Health.
You know how annoying that would get every freaking time if you had to say that?
Yes, it would be.
Oh, man. What a show. By the way, we had
afternoon.
Over 240 people watching, by the way. Two really good weeks. This was a much better week. I think we had 150 plus last week. Now 240. Now we were at like 250, I think, at the highest.
I think we peaked, though, during Blake's interview, which was even better.
So great show. We'll have this interview up at some point so you can listen to it separately. So don't worry about that. And then rest of scheduling. Apparently Outsiders is on its normal day this week, and next week it's on Friday.
We're all over the place. We're sorry, people.
But that'll be normal time at 3 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. Hitting for the cycle is 1 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Bando's breakdowns at 3 p.m. Eastern on Friday. And then you and I have a bunch of scheduling to do for the weekend, which we could start getting ahead of. Finally.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow us, follow our show on social media at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms. Twitter, Instagram, hopefully TikTok one day. Follow the network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. As we continue to grow, please like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below this video or any of our videos at this YouTube channel. And help us grow our watch hours so we can do some more things because we want to expand. Like I said, we have a new member joining the next week or two. His name is Nate Miller. Give and Takes is his show. That'll be over on here. And you'll see him on a bunch of all our other live shows as well. So get ready for that as well. Our next show is when?
Dun, dun, dun.
I couldn't believe this when you showed this to me, by the way. March 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. 6 years to the day that sports began to shut down for COVID-19.
We will be spending a part of the program, though, detailing our experiences, which, by the way, you'll actually hear Friday on Small Market Edition. I give you a full firsthand account, though, of how it was with myself getting back into it. And Nick has shared some of his stories, though, too, but we'll probably go a bit further in depth, though, next Wednesday during one part of our show next week.
What a crazy time that was. I remember back in February of...
So do I.
I was in the studio when the news broke with Rudy Gobert touching the microphones. When Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson were the first known celebrities to have COVID while I was working. Yeah, fun times. And when I say fun times, I mean not fun times.
No.
But yeah, March 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Sorry, Pacific. If it's 11 p.m. Pacific, we're on late, like the old days. Anyway, anything else?
I think that's it. Yes, we'll have Blake's interview up later. Big thanks to Blake Bolden for joining the show today. As I said, her and I could sit down and babble and yap for hours on end. So
I should have just let you fill the 3-hour slot. You probably would have done it.
Maybe we could have. Who knows?
But what a day, what a week for this show. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we can find some more interviews. Tough the last couple of weeks. But that was a good one. That was definitely a good sit down to hear.
Yes, it was. It was very awesome. And we'll come back at you folks next week back here, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, back here on ETB. For Nick Morgasen, Callan McClurg signing off here for this Wednesday. We'll see you all again next week back here on ETB. Until next time, have a great week and a great night. Bye-bye.
See you around.